My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 501, Entering a State of Enlightenment. The next morning, medical center. Dressing room. Liz had just finished her shower and sat there with her hair down. George and Christina sat beside her. Meredith leaned against the locker and looked at her with pity. "My baby Emily died." "We know," everyone responded softly. The quintuplets are now the focus of the medical center. Everyone knew it as soon as they arrived. Baby Emily survived until 4 in the morning. At that time, Liz couldn't stand it after a night of rescue, so she lay down and slept for a while. The nurse should have woken her up, but at this time, Dr. Montgomery had come in advance and told the nurse not to wake her up. When she woke up and found that baby Emily was gone, she asked the nurse and found out about this. Then, of course, she blamed herself endlessly. When Dr. Montgomery told her the truth, as Adam expected, Liz was furious, questioned and yelled a few times, and turned around and left. After taking a shower, she calmed down a little, and now she is endlessly sad and confused. At this time, Adam walked in. When Liz saw this, her confusion and sadness turned into anger in an instant. She stood up and grabbed Adam's collar. "What were you doing last night? Do you know how many times I called you?" "Emily is dead." "I know." Adam nodded and said, "We knew everything after we had surgery yesterday and cut open her chest." "What?" Liz was shocked. "Even you know? You followed her to lie to me?" "This is not a lie," Adam explained patiently. "You are an intern. You come to the medical center for residency training to learn, and the lesson last night was the senior doctor teaching you with all his heart." "Teach me?" Liz smiled. "In such a cruel way?" "What way is not cruel?" Adam said gently. "We have been interning for a few months. How much sadness and separation have we seen during this period? Aren't those cruel? If you can't stand it, it only means that you are not suitable to be a doctor. It's better to leave early, because such cruel things will be played out in front of you every day in the future." "Adam." Meredith frowned and said, "Liz is very uncomfortable now, so just say less." "Am I wrong?" Adam interrupted. "Do you know why Dr. Montgomery did this? It's precisely because Liz's shortcomings in this regard are too obvious. She's too emotional. Take the case of Mrs. Ruzabin. As the attending physician, she ridiculed the pregnant patient as soon as she met her, saying that the couple should read the instructions more when taking fertility-enhancing drugs. Why? It's because she can't stand the patient and is too emotional. Then, for things that she feels very moved, she will use all kinds of moral kidnapping, as if anyone who doesn't do what she says is a bad person. It seems that she is doing everything for the good of the patient. But can such an emotional doctor really treat the patient's condition rationally and calmly? At the critical moment, let's not talk about the horrible issue of whether she will intentionally or unintentionally let the patient die if she doesn't like the patient. Let's talk about the patient who is particularly favored and moved by her. Originally, the other party could not be saved. But when she gets emotional, will she save the other party at all costs? If it is a transplant operation, it will rob the patient who could have been treated of the chance to survive. Is this a disguised murder? At this point, Adam turned his gaze away from the stunned Meredith and looked at the stunned Liz. "So, I agree with Dr. Montgomery's request that I keep it a secret and take the risk of teaching you such a cruel lesson. Even if it happens again, I will still agree. If you find it completely unacceptable, or even think that we have done something extremely evil, then I advise you not to be a doctor. Because you are so emotional, you will really kill patients one day. At that time, you will feel what real cruelty is." After saying that, he pulled away Liz's weak hand that was holding his collar, walked to his locker, and began to change clothes. The locker room was dead silent. When Adam changed his clothes, he saw Christina smiling at him helplessly. George looked reluctant, Meredith glared at him, and Liz stood there with tears streaming down her face, sighing. Which excellent doctor has not had a patient die due to his own negligence? You can ask Dr. Green, Dr. Shept, Dr. Burke, and even the chief of surgery. They have experienced patients who should have been saved but died due to their own mistakes. That kind of torture is truly cruel. In comparison, you are lucky to have this opportunity. Dr. Montgomery took a risk for this class, and she is really doing it for your own good. If you calm down and think clearly, go and thank her, learn from her skills, and try to save as many patients as possible in the future. At this point, Adam also stopped talking. He didn't say what to do if he couldn't figure it out. He looked at Meredith, who was staring at him, sneered, and left. Meredith is now completely crazy. She didn't oppose his words at all, but opposed him speaking for his rival Dr. Montgomery, another emotional representative. But the degree is better than Liz. No wonder her mother Alice Gray always looks down on her despite her good talent. Legendary Alice Gray could not have any private contact with her full-time operating nurse for 18 years, even though she admired the nurse very much in her heart. Only when she had Alzheimer's disease and could not even remember her daughter, she would show this kind of emotion, smiling and saying that the operating nurse was very good. This kind of super stable mentality of being in a high position is the foundation of legend. Morning. Thank you. In the corridor, she met Dr. Montgomery and stopped Adam to thank him sincerely. Obviously, the words in the locker room also reached her ears. Adam was not surprised at all, because the locker room is a large locker room. All surgical interns can use it. When he was talking, it seemed that only Christina and a few others were there, but there were other surgical interns in the back room. In one morning, everything that should be known was known. This was definitely not a deliberate show by Adam to earn the favor of Dr. Montgomery, the current celebrity of the medical center and the director of the neonatal department. His words came from the heart. Yes, that's it. You're welcome, Adam said. Has Liz figured it out? With your wake-up call, she should figure it out. Dr. Montgomery smiled. She had bumped into Liz just now, and when their eyes met, she, as an experienced driver, could see the change in Liz's emotions, which became less angry and more complicated. This is obviously a good start. She should not need to select another person to train. She accepted Adam's favor. Haha. Adam smiled slightly at this, and there seemed to be a flash of light on the white teeth that were slightly exposed at the corners of his mouth. P.S. Thank you for the rewards from It's Good to Travel Through the Plains, Diazu, and Defective Mobile Phone. I have something to do today, so the other 2 chapters will be a little late. Please forgive me. Chapter 502 Explosive Theory Medical Center. After passing Dr. Montgomery, Adam was about to go to the emergency room. He was stopped again. Adam. Christina stopped Adam. How about I exchange that favor for a surgery? What surgery? Adam smiled non-committally. Intestinal foreign body removal surgery. Christina promoted. She swallowed 4 blades, and there is a high possibility of intestinal perforation and multiple infections. This surgery is good. Although it is not a rare surgery, it is worth offsetting the favor I owe you, right? No. Adam shook his head and smiled. But I can do this surgery for you for free, so you don't owe me another favor. What? Christina shouted. Come on. Adam shrugged and said, you don't think I don't know the female prisoner who was just sent here urgently, do you? She killed 3 people and was locked up in a small dark room in the prison. This is not the first time she swallowed a razor blade in order to get out for some fresh air. It's completely normal for you to be afraid of such a cruel patient. I can help you with this. Damn it. It's just a little bit. Christina clenched her fist unwillingly, and then complained. How do you know everything? So don't try to deceive me. Adam smiled and said, how about I help you for free? How about it? Don't even think about it. Christina rolled her eyes and turned away. She said she doesn't kill doctors. At least no doctor has died in her hands. Stay away from her. Adam reminded Christina loudly from behind. This kind of cruel prisoner who killed 3 people in a Rome attack and kill doctors at any time if you are not careful. Anyway, it's just a matter of killing, at most. The sentence will be increased by a few hundred years. So the other party's attitude is extremely arrogant. Adam heard from the young nurse that when the female prisoner was first sent here, she shouted happily, calling everyone her baby. That crazy energy was very scary. The nurses in charge of her were all unlucky ones who didn't get the good lottery. When they went in, they all stayed away from her, even though her hands were handcuffed. The nurses were still terrified when they had to change her dressings, fearing that the female prisoner would suddenly attack and hurt others. The female prisoner saw that the nurse was afraid of her, so she shouted and ordered the nurse as if the nurse was her slave. The nurse had no choice but to endure it. There was no way. She was really scared. Even though Christina was naturally calm and rational as an excellent surgeon, it was impossible for her to say that she was not afraid when facing such a patient. It was actually right for her to come to Adam. In the entire medical center, only Adam could handle it easily, but it was unthinkable to let Adam owe her a favor. Noon, cafeteria. The patient you met before who kept a rattlesnake as a pet was already weird enough, but this time I met an even weirder one. George couldn't help but say, he kept leeches as pets. What's going on? Adam was also stunned. My patient has multiple skin melanomas. George explained. Biological therapy was used. Leech was used. Adam suddenly realized. He wants to keep them after the treatment? Yes, George complained. He said that leeches helped him, and he wants to keep them and find an opportunity to release them back to nature. That's normal. Adam smiled. It's not for some weird purpose. As they were talking, Christina frowned and walked over. What are you looking at? Seeing Adam looking her up and down, Christina said unhappily. No parts are missing from your body. You're lucky today. Adam teased. She's really not afraid of death, Christina complained. After we told her the risks of the operation, she still just yelled at us to give her mint chocolate ice cream. The more this happens, the more afraid you are, right? Adam pointed out the key point. This is nonsense, Christina said speechlessly. Didn't you see the nurse who took care of her? Her legs were shaking so much, and she went to the toilet several times in a short time. I'm thinking about a question. Adam smiled and said, if everyone in the prison is like her, wouldn't it immediately break through our medical system? Of course. Christina was stunned for a moment, then nodded and said, there are so many people in the prison, and if they are all like this, how can we save them? Do you know how much financial funding is consumed for one prisoner in the prison every year? Adam asked again. How much? George asked curiously. $60,000 a year per person. Adam laughed. They can easily call an expensive ambulance, go to the hospital, and order us around. In some ways, they live a better life than us interns. Puff. George burst out in disbelief. How much? $60,000? Doesn't it take two of us to support one of them? Wrong, Christina corrected. You make about $30,000 a year, and you only pay a few $1,000s in taxes. It takes more than a dozen of you working hard to support one of them, and that's not counting the precious medical resources that they consume when they do things like this all the time. No way. George was stunned. Why not? Christina reminded. If a prisoner consumes $60,000 of fiscal funds every year, building more prisons and taking in more prisoners is equivalent to thousands of standard middle-class elites working for themselves. They still eat pig food and work all year round, earning $100 million a year, easily. Why are there more and more private prisons? Can they increase so wildly without making money? Haha, now you understand? Adam laughed. Doctors and lawyers are the most standard middle-class professions. But we have 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, and 6 or 7 years of residency. It takes 14 or 15 years to truly reach the middle class. Only then can the income and consumption power begin to surpass the criminals in prison. Speaking of it, it's also quite funny. The salaries of interns and residents are not high. Only when you become an attending physician can you really start to make money. Even so, it depends on the level of the attending physician or whether he can handle things. You can't count it that way. George was unwilling to accept this explosive theory, and shook his head subconsciously. We have freedom, but they don't. You are an intern? What freedom do you have? Christina interrupted. The prisoners in other prisons have time to go out every day, but we are so busy that we don't even have time to eat or go to the toilet. George was speechless. Then he felt bad. He worked hard to become a doctor, and he was still very proud in his heart. He usually looked down on his 2 brothers who were postmen and mechanics, but after Adam and Christina's analysis, this inner pride suddenly decreased a little. Of course, he knew that this comparison was wrong. After going through this hard time, he would get better and better, while the prisoners would get worse and worse. But he didn't know why. He just felt very depressed. I heard that some surgery enthusiasts bring their own diapers when they are busy with surgery. I really hope that one day, I will also wear diapers to the operating room. When Christina mentioned this, she went off topic and imagined herself becoming a surgery master and living in the operating room every day. But in order not to waste time, this method is really desperate. Adam, when the time comes, it won't be as convenient for you to wear it as it is for me. No. Adam's mouth twitched. I am in charge of my bladder. No matter how busy the operation is, I can do it. P.S. Thank you Diezo and Resurrection Armor for your rewards for many days. I am not in a good state today. I want to go to bed early. There is only this one chapter. Tomorrow I will bathe, burn incense, fast and retreat, and write seriously to make up for it. It will be the 4th update. Please forgive me. Chapter 503 Boxer Peggy, Medical Center. Cafeteria. Listening to Christina's enthusiastic talk about the funny story of the surgery maniac wearing diapers into the operating room, Adam also thought it was funny. But when she thought about who would be more comfortable wearing diapers between her and Adam felt offended. Indeed, under normal circumstances, Christina, as a woman, must be more accustomed to wearing this than Adam. But Adam is not Sheldon, who can't stand the mention of bladder control, nor is he Howard, who invented a warming artifact to cue for movies and has to lift his waist from time to time, looking very happy. Adam said he can control it, and he really can control it. Think about Adam's good friends who are more than friends but less than lovers, and you will know. It's the same thing. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. At this moment, Adam's phone rang. Lisa. Adam frowned, picked up the dinner plate, answered the phone, and walked out. What's the matter? Assistant Lisa is fully responsible for taking care of Peggy. The call at this time made Adam feel nervous. Then, he heard a piece of news that made him laugh and cry. What? Peggy beat someone up? What happened? Boss. Lisa introduced on the other end of the phone. Today, Peggy's sister came to see her with her boyfriend. The three of them were talking, and Peggy's sister's boyfriend was a little talkative. Huh? Adam's tone turned cold. To Peggy? Yeah, Lisa explained quickly. It was just talkative. Peggy's sister directly said something about him. Then what? Adam said coldly. Peggy wouldn't beat him for no reason. This man seems to be an artist. Lisa said, he has a bad temper. When he saw Peggy's sister saying something about him, he directly beat Peggy's sister. Peggy's sister let him beat her. I immediately notified the bodyguards, but before they came up, Peggy went up and punched him, hitting his left eye socket. Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing. Then what? That bastard is tall and big, but I didn't expect him to be so useless. Seeing that the boss was in a good mood, Lisa's voice became much lighter. He was hit in the eye socket by Peggy's punch, and he was stunned. When he was about to get angry, Peggy punched him in the face. At this time, the bodyguards had come up and controlled the situation. Is Peggy's hand injured? Adam asked with concern. Don't worry, boss, Peggy is not injured. Lisa smiled and said, the bastard was taken to the bodyguard's room downstairs and guarded. The only question now is how to deal with him. Peggy's sister kept begging us to let him go now and take him to the hospital. What is the attitude of this bastard now? Adam asked. He should be scared. Lisa said, after all, in the United States, don't mess with rich people. This is the truth. In the bodyguard room, seeing the series of professional equipment and professional security personnel, anyone with a brain knows that he has offended either a rich person or a powerful person. Just watch first. Adam pondered. I'll have someone deal with him later. Deal with? Lisa was surprised. Boss, don't be impulsive. He was beaten by Peggy. Have you watched too many movies? Adam complained. Do I have to make such a big fuss for such a small matter? That's right. Lisa breathed a sigh of relief. What do you mean by deal with it? Boss, don't let Peggy get involved in such a rotten thing. Adam explained. I'll find a professional to teach this bastard how to behave, so that he won't get too crazy. This guy is an old policeman. You just leave it to him. Boss, what are you going to do? Lisa asked curiously. There's nothing to do. Adam sighed. It's not good to go too far. Just teach him a lesson, heal his injuries, make sure he has no evidence of entanglement with Peggy, and check his background by the way. Artists always have many hobbies. In addition, he beat his girlfriend when he said he would, and he dared to flirt with his girlfriend's sister in front of his girlfriend. He must be a bad guy. Such a person naturally has a place to go. Lisa was speechless. Is this not enough to make a big fuss? It's not much better than just killing him. The boss is really petty. It seems that I must not offend the boss in the future. Don't worry. I will have someone give him a wrist soap bag so that he won't drop the soap when he takes a shower, Adam added. Lisa didn't understand this joke at all, but it didn't stop her from knowing that this must be the boss's bad taste. But what about Peggy's sister? Lisa asked. She seems to love him. Leave it to me. Adam smiled and said, I will go there early in the evening. You prepare dinner and I will talk to her. He knew Peggy's sister. When Peggy was in high school, her parents were getting divorced. Peggy was just trying to fall, but Peggy's sister was really falling. She followed a little gangster who drove a small RV converted from a van that I don't know how many times, and did all kinds of things. This small RV was so simple that it didn't even have a toilet, only a bed, and was jokingly called a mobile brothel. At the time, Sheldon's brother George bought one with great enthusiasm, in the name of picking up his younger brother Sheldon. But Sheldon's father, George, saw through him at a glance. Because George was also young, he used a cool motorcycle to kidnap his current wife. This kind of RV was simply his dream back then. Although the motorcycle is cool, it is just a showpiece, not a real weapon. In order not to have a grandson in advance, George firmly opposed it and even threatened George that he would not be allowed to live in his house unless he sold the car. George, who was young and overconfident, was naturally a hard opponent and refused to sell it. He also bought a lot of small light bulbs and decorated the interior. Then he drove this car that looked like a rag on the outside but was actually gold and jade to his girlfriend's house to pick up his girlfriend. He met his girlfriend's father and promised him that he would definitely send her back before 11 o'clock. His girlfriend's father was also young, so he naturally saw through the true value of this car at a glance. His expression was very ugly. He forced the car door open and looked inside despite George's objection. Then, there was nothing else. The meaning of curfew is to prevent teenagers from having the opportunity to fire at random. In front of this kind of RV, curfew is meaningless. Little George was beaten back, and then he understood the truth. No parent is a fool. Driving such an RV is indeed convenient, but the premise is that you can still make an appointment with your girlfriend. So, he decisively cut his losses and chose to sell it. Without the most core benefits, if you want to endure the various inconveniences of living in an RV, you must be a fool. Little George did not succeed, but Peggy's sister's little gangster boyfriend succeeded, because at that time Peggy's parents were getting divorced, and the only thing they had in mind was Peggy, the fuse of the divorce, and they had no time to pay attention to her, the always transparent boss. The little gangster could convince a sister like Peggy, so Adam didn't believe that he couldn't convince her. Chapter 504 You Know Too Much. Hang up the phone. Adam went to the VIP ward. Today, he was in charge of a patient with Lasker's cyst. Mr. Martin, the most understanding nurse knocked anxiously on the bathroom door of the ward. Dr. Duncan. Mr. Martin locked himself in and refused to open the door. Mr. Martin, please open the door. I know you are in pain, but you need our help. Adam knocked on the door. I don't need help. I don't need anyone. The patient, Mr. Martin, shouted through the door in the bathroom. I am an island. A beautiful island, surrounded by water. Shit. Adam's face changed. Dr. Duncan, I'll call security, the most understanding nurse said subconsciously. No need. Adam twisted the door hard and directly opened the door lock. Then the most understanding nurse stood there in a daze. Mr. Martin, a successful man who could afford to live in the VIP ward, was lying on the side of the toilet with his face completely stuffed into the water in the toilet. When he saw Adam and the others come in, he raised his head, then immediately went back in and drank water desperately. Adam stepped forward, lifted up Mr. Martin with one hand, and walked out. No, the patient Mr. Martin struggled frantically. Let me go back. I want to drink water. Violent. Go get the restraint belt. Adam ordered. Yes. The most understanding little nurse ran out immediately. Don't look at me. I don't want others to see me so miserable." Mr. Martin struggled and shouted, "This is not what you are like, Mr. Martin." Adam stretched out his hand and pressed him on the bed, comforting him. "You are just sick. You have a Lasker cyst in your pituitary gland, which makes you hyponatremia, so you are extremely thirsty. But we can't let you drink a lot of water. We can only use intravenous drip. Drinking a lot of water will further affect your blood sodium level and make you mentally confused." That was not a beautiful island surrounded by the sea just now. It was just a toilet. "I am not the flight crew member you took on vacation. I am your doctor." "No, I don't believe it." Mr. Martin was hysterical. He was in a state of mental confusion. Adam had seen the other party in a normal state, a lonely and proud successful businessman. He is accompanied by a male assistant. According to the assistant, Mr. Martin has no friends, and the only friend should be his assistant who has been with him for 3 years. Well, this is just the assistant's wishful thinking. When the assistant restricted his boss from drinking water according to Adam's medical advice, he was fired directly because of his body's extreme desire for water. Adam advised Mr. Martin not to do this. "You are just a doctor, what do you know?" Mr. Martin directly confronted him. "When you have an assistant, we will talk about this issue again." There was full of disdain and pride in his words. Adam naturally disdained to say anything to him, but the most understanding little nurse around him couldn't bear it, and suppressed Mr. Martin's arrogance in a few words. "There are many successful businessmen, but not one of the 100 is a billionaire." Mr. Martin had to take back that sentence. Adam, a doctor, should really know the relationship between the assistant and the boss. But he didn't listen to Adam's advice and call the assistant back, because in his eyes, the assistant saw his current miserable state, and his psychological respect for him had collapsed. He was unwilling to use such an assistant no matter what. Adam could understand this. Just like in ancient times, knowing too many royal secrets would be dangerous. "You know too much. I don't want to see you. You can only disappear." Dr. Duncan. At this time, the most understanding nurse had already brought the restraint belt. "Tie him up," Adam ordered. The most understanding nurse skillfully tied Mr. Martin's hands and feet to the bed. "Give him a 3% hypotonic saline intravenous drip for 4 consecutive hours, a total of 500 milliliters." Adam gave a medical order. "Repeat it. 3% hypotonic saline intravenous drip for 4 consecutive hours, a total of 500 milliliters. The most understanding nurse repeated. "Very good." Adam reminded again. "This hypertonic saline cannot be injected too much, otherwise it will cause permanent damage to the patient's brain, so please note that it is a total of 500 milliliters in 4 hours. Nurses are just nurses after all. For common diseases, they do not need doctors and can do it themselves, but for complex and rare conditions, their knowledge is insufficient. For example, if they misheard the doctor's order this time and said 500 milliliters per hour for 4 hours, the patient's brain would be ruined. Either he would die directly or he would be paralyzed forever." Adam had just said to Liz that all excellent doctors have caused the death of patients who should not have died due to mistakes. But what he didn't say was that this common sense was for those ordinary excellent doctors. For a jerk like him, he might be able to avoid the death of patients due to negligence forever. And the more he gets older, as his skills and abilities continue to improve, the higher the success rate of this avoidance will be. He doesn't want to fall for such a small mistake for the first time, although, even if it happens, it won't affect his career. Those excellent doctors, even after so many years, can still report all the details of the incidents they encountered back then. It can be seen that such things will become a lifelong shadow and regret for the person involved. Adam has an encrypted folder in his brain, but he will never make a mistake that can be avoided by saying one more word. "I know, Dr. Duncan." The most understanding little nurse nodded seriously. Dr. Shept. After Adam settled Mr. Martin, he found Dr. Shept and told him about the matter. "Okay." Dr. Shept raised his wrist and looked at the time. It was already past 2 o'clock. Mr. Martin's intravenous drip would take 4 hours, and it was time to get off work. "Take good care of him tonight, and we will do the operation tomorrow." An important difference between attending doctors and residents is that their working hours are fixed, except for taking turns with other attending doctors to stay in the hospital every once in a while, and special circumstances that require rushing to the hospital. The rest of the time is the normal working hours of 7 to 5 and weekends off. This ensures that attending doctors can have the same work and rest time as others. That is, they can have a normal life. Residents desperately want to become attending doctors, not only for money, but also for free time. Having money and free time is the real happiness. Christina, you can pay back your favor. After Adam and Dr. Shept agreed, he found Christina and gave her the task of taking care of Mr. Martin at night. In fact, the most knowledgeable nurses can also handle it. But Mr. Martin was Adam's patient, and he was a little worried without a full-time doctor to take care of him. He might as well use up the favor Christina owed him. Otherwise, she would always think about it, and if he made another bet in the future, the favors would be piled up and he would never use them up. She would also risk breaking the jaw and directly defaulting on the debt. It's better to pay back what you owe, and it's not difficult to owe more. As expected, Christina happily agreed. Owing favors to others is actually a burden for a principled and proud person. If you don't pay it back early, you will feel uncomfortable all over. But Adam never gave her a chance before. Now it's good. Just stay up all night and take care of one more patient to offset one favor. This is much better than sending an operation. Adam was still relatively relieved about Christina, but he still reminded her 3 times, and then he changed his clothes after work and drove to New Jersey. P.S. Thank you Z315675 for the reward. There are 2 more chapters in the afternoon. Chapter 505 Peggy Sisters New Jersey. Princeton University. Outside Peggy's apartment building, Lisa was waiting there early. As soon as Adam's car arrived, Lisa smiled and opened the door for Adam, treating Adam like an abbot. "Boss, dinner is ready, and that bastard has been taken away by the professionals you sent." "Yeah." Adam nodded and walked towards the apartment. He didn't need to meet the other party. Distance can generate enough awe. Professional matters should be left to professionals. Kate introduced him to an old policeman with rich experience and connections. Adam believed that the other party could handle it well according to his wishes. All Adam needed to do was to convince Peggy's sister to break up with the other party, so as to eliminate the unstable factors around Peggy. "I didn't realize that Peggy was so powerful." Lisa followed in small steps. Seeing that Adam was in a good mood, she said in a funny way, "A beautiful female scientist punched someone without saying a word. How cool, haha." Adam paused for a moment and laughed. "This is not the first time Peggy has hit someone like this, huh?" Lisa exclaimed in response. "Really? The first person to be hit was our good friend Sheldon." Adam couldn't help laughing. "We were still in high school at that time, and they were only 11 years old. Since they were good friends, why did Peggy hit him?" Lisa asked curiously. "He deserved it." Adam smiled and shook his head, and the funny things in the past flashed through his mind. It was when Peggy's parents were getting divorced. Peggy wanted to fall. Peggy's mother still focused on her. On the one hand, she asked Peggy to interact more with Sheldon, who was the same age and the same type, and on the other hand, she asked Peggy to participate in the choir class, hoping that Peggy would accept the Lord's restraint and blessing. One Sunday, Sheldon went to the stamp collecting club with great enthusiasm to participate in the event, but was told that the event was cancelled. Because apart from Sheldon, this event did not attract a single person to participate. This made Sheldon unbelievable, because according to statistics, stamp collecting is becoming increasingly popular among the 70-year-old group. These elderly people should have enough time and interest to participate. Fortunately, little Sheldon was accustomed to disappointment, and was later dragged to the choir by his mother and sister. Here, he met Peggy, who was also forcibly dragged by his mother. Both of them are atheists, and they both look down on this silly choir prize guessing activity. But since little Sheldon was defeated by Peggy in chess and overturned the table, he has been particularly interested in competing with Peggy, even if it is the biblical trivia that they both look down on. While the two were talking, a competitive conflict arose. When the presiding pastor asked questions and Missy and the others were all confused, Peggy and little Sheldon raised their hands at the same time, wanting to compete. The result is obvious. When the pastor saw little Sheldon coming, his face turned green. Naturally, he would not choose little Sheldon, who always embarrassed him in public. He ignored little Sheldon and called on Peggy to answer. This kind of thing is naturally no difficulty for the two super geniuses. Peggy answered the question easily and received praise and rewards from the pastor. Little Sheldon was even more angry and vowed to defeat Peggy next time. After returning, he read the Bible again and asked his sister Missy to ask questions to increase the speed of raising hands. When the choir class was held the next week, little Sheldon felt that he had the advantage and was sure to win. But what confused him was that Peggy didn't argue with him at all, which made him unbearable. When asked, Peggy said that she just wanted to see little Sheldon unhappy and angry. It was quite like, if you have anything unhappy, tell everyone and make them happy, and my happiness is built on your pain. Little Sheldon wanted to treat others in their own way, but he didn't get what he wanted at the beginning, even though he told Peggy his father's famous saying that often caused domestic violence: "Woman, go get me a bottle of beer." Peggy remained indifferent. Finally, little Sheldon finally reacted and used the root cause of Peggy's desire to fall, the fact that Peggy's parents were getting a divorce because of her, to provoke Peggy. Then, little Sheldon got what he wanted. Peggy finally got angry and used the most practical way to deal with Sheldon that Missy taught her: violence. A fist hit little Sheldon's left eye socket, knocked little Sheldon to the ground, and directly killed little Sheldon. At that time, Missy's gloating laughter was heard. Afterwards, little Sheldon's mother saw it. Although she was extremely distressed, she had nothing to say. Because Peggy and little Sheldon are the same kind, she also felt sorry for Peggy. Peggy beat little Sheldon directly, and characterized it as Missy beating little Sheldon. It's nothing strange. After all, Missy is Peggy's master. However, Sheldon's mother privately gave Missy a shot of prevention, not allowing her to teach Peggy other violent methods. You know, Missy's real trick is the crotch kick. These memories flashed through Adam's mind. At this time, he had arrived at the door of the apartment. Lisa stepped forward and opened the door with a key. "Hi, Erica." Adam walked in and greeted a beauty who was a little strange, but a little familiar when he looked closely. "I really didn't see it." Sister Erica, who was completely incomparable with her sister Peggy at the beginning, also got rid of the baby fat all over her body and became very charming. But looking at Peggy's appearance, it's not surprising. After all, they are sisters. If there is a 1/10 similarity, then they are definitely beauties. Just like a certain dragon girl said that she is the ugliest one in their family. Although it's a bit Versailles, it's not completely without a shadow. "Hi, Adam." Erica was a little dazed when she saw Adam. She had seen Adam before because of her sister Peggy. At that time, she just thought Adam was a little handsome, but she didn't feel anything else. He was totally incomparable to her cool boyfriend. But now when she looks at Adam again, she feels different, especially the temperament of Adam, which makes her particularly fascinated. How to say it? Mature, doctor, literary, handsome, 4 halos, all of which are what she loves the most. That's right. Before, Peggy's mother was worried that her daughter Peggy had a daddy complex because she lost her father's love too early in their broken marriage, so she found Adam. But she was worried about the wrong person. Peggy was just a simple and half friend at the beginning, and Sheldon was really useless, so she found Adam. Following her father, Peggy's sister Erica was the one who unconsciously developed a daddy complex because of their broken marriage. Erica was originally going to ask Adam to let her artist boyfriend go, but now she was not in a hurry. She lifted her long hair, covered the old wound on the corner of her cheek that had not yet healed from her boyfriend's beating, and showed Adam the brightest smile. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 506. We went to Peggy's apartment together. Erica lifted her hair and showed Adam her brightest smile. "Who is Adam?" She understood immediately. "So, does your hand still hurt?" Adam took Peggy's hand directly, checked it, and asked distressedly. Peggy and her sister were both confused. What's going on? For Peggy, no matter what happened in the bedroom, Adam never showed affection in public. He didn't look like that kind of person, and she was not used to showing affection in public. "I'm fine." Peggy pulled her hand back and frowned at Adam. "Whether there is anything wrong, I have the final say." Adam took Peggy's hand and played with it carefully. Peggy glanced at her sister Erica, whose face was a little wrong, and immediately understood. She didn't say anything more and let Adam indulge in his domineering addiction. Erica was not a fool. After being out there for so long, she changed boyfriends one after another, and was particularly sensitive to the aura in this regard. She immediately understood what Adam meant. Then she felt even more sour. Shouldn't normal men be like her boyfriend who talks nonsense and wants both? Although she disliked her boyfriend's flirting with her sister Peggy, she disliked Adam's display of affection even more. If she remembered correctly, Adam was also a playboy in high school. Shouldn't such a person be more interested in her identity? Why pretend? Or is Sister Peggy's charm really that great? However, thinking of her sister Peggy's beauty and unattainable achievements, Erica felt deeply powerless again. Other women may not be so charming, but her sister is really not an ordinary woman. It seems possible to make the prodigal son turn back and become a loyal good man. "Erica, you must be hungry. Let's have dinner together." Adam kept an eye on Erica, seeing that her face was no longer charming at the beginning, but looked a little frustrated. Knowing that the time had come, he let go of Peggy's hand and greeted her in a gentle voice. "It's not that he is Giabeoiu's father and is hypocritical," he sneered at a certain combination. "It's just that he values Peggy more. She just gave birth to your baby, and you're looking for your sister-in-law. This is not something a pure and upright person like Adam can do. Besides, Erica is beautiful, but in the eyes of Adam, who has seen many beauties, she can only give her a score of 7. Compared with Peggy's #1 beautiful girl scientist, Caroline's true saintly aura, Heather's dominance, Max's poisonous bear, Robin's heroic appearance, Nora's color queen, Kate's beautiful detective, Jennifer's transformer, Alice's persistence of "you can't deal with my boyfriend, but you can't deal with me," and a group of female friends with their own characteristics in Adam's encrypted folder. Erica's body is not as good as hers, and she doesn't have an interesting soul temperament. Even if she has a special identity, it's not that bad. Adam took the time to come here this time just to persuade Erica to eliminate the unstable factors around Peggy. How could she ask for trouble? "Erica? Not really. We haven't seen each other for a long time, right?" Seeing Erica was unhappy, Adam had to take the initiative to bring up the topic. "It's been a long time." Erica glanced at Adam and Peggy who were sitting together, and said sarcastically, "If I remember correctly, my sister Peggy was only 11 years old at that time? How old were you then? 17 or 18? Time flies by really fast." Adam didn't respond at all, and smiled. "Miss Watson is also going to remarry. Erica, have you met David? He's a good man, isn't he?" "So what if he's good?" Erica sneered. "How long can it last?" Even if she had a problem with her mother who gave up on her, she couldn't say a bad word about David after meeting him. In just a few days together, David made her feel the fatherly love she had missed for a long time. This was her biological father who had married a stepmother a long time ago, and he never touched her again. But like Peggy, she was not willing to believe in marriage, but the degree was not as extreme as Peggy. "Has David seen the wound on your face?" Adam gradually got to the point. "I have seen it." Erica couldn't help but touch the old wound on her cheek when she heard this, with a complicated look on her face. She was sad that her boyfriend beat her. She was also happy that David, who was about to become her stepfather, cared about her and stood up for her. It was just that she had gotten used to her boyfriend's dual personality of being gentle and romantic at times and violent at times. In addition, David was a civilized person. In the end, the matter was left unresolved. Dick is not always like this. At this point, Erica finally remembered that her boyfriend was taken away, and explained for her boyfriend, "Don't hurt him, don't worry." Adam smiled and said, "Peggy has already stood up for you. Why should I hurt him? I just don't want him to hurt Peggy's family again. So I found a policeman to scare him." "You don't doubt that the police will hurt him, do you?" Erica's expression was strange. She wasn't worried at first, but as soon as Adam mentioned the other party's identity, she had to worry. But it was hard to explain. You can't say that American policemen are dangerous, right? How are your mom and David doing lately? Adam smiled and changed the subject, giving Erica some time to calm down. Not bad. Erica suppressed her worries and complaints and said casually, they are getting married soon. I am helping my mom prepare for the wedding. This time I came here to help them discuss with Peggy about being a bridesmaid at the wedding. After meeting Adam, her feelings for her boyfriend suddenly became less intense. The desire to stand up for him also faded. Be a bridesmaid? Adam was surprised. Peggy for her mother? Yes, Erica explained. Not only Peggy, but me too. My mom doesn't have any particularly good girlfriends, and she wants Peggy and me to join in, so she thought of letting Peggy and I be bridesmaids. Originally, my boyfriend Dick was going to be the best man this time. Peggy doesn't want to? Adam interrupted directly. She wants to see if you have time. Erica said sourly, she wants you to be the best man. I don't like walking the red carpet with other people. Peggy frowned. Adam smiled at Peggy and looked at Erica. When? Where will it be held? In David's hometown, a small town in Washington. Erica said, it will be held in 2 weeks, on November 18th. Then she complained, Thanksgiving and Christmas are coming soon, and they have only been engaged for a few weeks. I really don't understand why they are in such a hurry and do it so hastily. Adam smiled. Don't you see how old they are? David is starting a business, so naturally he will do it as quickly as possible and save as much as possible. Maybe they will even get married with a baby. If they delay any longer, they won't even be able to wear a wedding dress. How can they not be in a hurry? Peggy, I can spare time that day. Let's go together. Adam also talked to Peggy in the middle of the night, and naturally knew that under her aloof and indifferent appearance, she also had emotional needs. It's not that she didn't want to go, it's that she didn't want to go alone and walk the red carpet with a stranger, or a strange monkey. Because Erica and her boyfriend were to appear as best man and bridesmaid respectively, Peggy would also have to walk up to the altar with a best man. Okay. Peggy and Adam looked at each other, with the corners of their mouths slightly raised. Erica, who was helping with the preparations, suddenly didn't want to participate. Chapter 507. One thing conquers another. New Jersey. Peggy's apartment. So, it's settled. Adam sensed Erica's disgust for the food, and stopped looking at Peggy. He focused his eyes on her again and said with a smile, Peggy and I will attend together. Is there anything we can help you with? Do you have time? Erica asked doubtfully. Even whether to attend or not requires time consideration. How can we help with the preparations? That's not necessarily true. Adam smiled and said, if you have any questions, you can contact Lisa. She will help you. Just think of it as Peggy and I helping you. Faced with the omnipotent power of money, Erica was speechless. If you want to give your mother and David a romantic wedding, you can go and have a good chat with a friend of mine. Adam smiled and said, he is known as the Little Prince of Romance. He has many wonderful ideas. The key is that he is also an architect. I introduced him to David before, and they have something in common. Talking to him will definitely be helpful for you to help prepare for your mother and David's romantic wedding. Little Prince of Romance? Erica complained. He didn't call himself that, did he? Of course not, Adam said playfully. I gave him that name. He claims to be just an architect pursuing his true love, but believe me, he is the Little Prince of Romance. Okay. Erica was just in her early 20s. Seeing Adam say that, she was naturally interested in this so-called Little Prince of Romance. But I'm going back with Dick tomorrow, and there are still many things I need to do for the wedding. Postpone it for a few days, and I'll book a first-class ticket for you then. Adam immediately said, I'll have someone take you to New York tomorrow night to meet my friend Ted Mosby, and you can have a good chat. It's okay to help prepare for the wedding in New York. If you need anything, Lisa will help you. In a few days, the facial injuries of Erica's boyfriend Dick were basically healed. Although Peggy is a boxer, her strength is much stronger than that of women of the same age under Adam's training. But she is not a baby-faced Barbie. Her lethality is limited. Under the treatment of professionals, the injuries on Dick's face will soon return to normal. By then, there will be no evidence that can be linked to Peggy. This Dick can be released after a threat. Adam told the old policeman to keep an eye on him. After a while, when he can no longer associate Adam with Peggy. As long as he has any improper behavior, there will be kind-hearted people who accidentally discover and call the police. Then he will pay for his carelessness. Everything goes through the formal procedures. Adam had already read the other party's information on the way here. It's not the first time that he has been to the police station for all kinds of messy things. It's reasonable to take another step forward. As for Erica, as long as she spends a few more days with Ted and sees what true romance and tenderness are, she will naturally no longer be attached to romance and tyranny. This is called one thing conquers another. Ted Mosby, a sexy architect, a woman's calamity, a romantic prince, is not a false reputation. Okay, Adam has said so much. Erica naturally has no reason to refuse, and happily agreed. The next step is to enjoy the food while chatting. If it is Peggy as a child, then as the hub of the three, she will be very proactive, because at that time, she is a combination of Sheldon and Missy, with Sheldon's genius IQ and Missy's high IQ. When the IQ is high to a certain level, many things are clear at a glance. There is no such thing as not knowing, but only whether you want to do it. IQ is also included. For example, Sheldon, does he really not know many things? No, he just doesn't care and is unwilling to spend a little time thinking about it. High IQ pursues self. High IQ pays more attention to others. Time is limited. The more you pay attention to the various needs of others, the less time you will spend on your own pursuits. This is an irreconcilable contradiction. Wisdom is the sum of IQ and IQ, and the proportion can be adjusted over time. Most ordinary people often feel that neither is enough, and they don't even have the opportunity to choose to adjust the proportion. Geniuses usually choose 7 to 3, 7 points of IQ and 3 points of IQ. Therefore, in the eyes of outsiders, geniuses are often a bit weird, but they can still be approached and interacted with. But Sheldon chose 9.9999:0.0001, which is almost completely abandoned. The 0.0001 IQ is only for his mother and grandmother who love him the most, and the instinct to prevent being beaten to death. So he seems to have no IQ at all, and is so honest that it is unbearable. In the later period, under the continuous influence of the circle of friends, he became more like a human, but like Leonard and Howard who have girlfriends, he has achieved less, and his brain was so dull that he doubted his life. If it weren't for the lucky blessing of a happy ending that gave him a flash of inspiration, Sheldon probably wouldn't have won the final Nobel Prize in Physics. Like countless unknown theoretical physicists, young geniuses, talented, plunged into the ocean of theory, and never set off a big wave. The heart is not pure. The high emotional intelligence that Peggy showed when she was a child was a choice she had no choice. She knew long ago that her parents had conflicts because of her peculiarity. Because she cares about her parents, so she tried her best to show some performances that ordinary girls should have, like dolls, and be well behaved, in order to make up for the rift in the family. With her super genius IQ, as long as she spends a little time thinking, the IQ and IQ distribution is 9 to 1. She can show high IQ and IQ. But when playing chess with little Sheldon, what she said was her voice. Like Sheldon, she is very proud of herself for being the best, and she is also very persistent. When her parents divorced, she tried to degenerate into an ordinary person. After being awakened by Adam, Peggy changed. She determined herself and made the same choice as Sheldon. The 1 point of wisdom allocated to emotional intelligence was taken back, and most of it became an IQ-IQ ratio of 9.9999:0.001. Then, academically, she made rapid progress all the way, suppressing Sheldon and becoming the youngest doctor and mathematician in history. But in contrast, she no longer played with Missy. She looked down on others with indifference. Erica's meaning to her was not much better than Missy's meaning to Sheldon, even if it weren't for the in-depth communication with Adam for so long, and the emotional intelligence had been improved a little bit intentionally or unintentionally. It would be hard to say whether these two punches would be thrown. "Erica, let's go. I'll take you to my place." Adam gave a look, and Lisa immediately understood and invited Erica to her room. "Lisa will help you later. You can have a good chat." Adam smiled. Okay." Erica was startled, but still got up and followed. When they got there, Lisa repeatedly invited her to stay tonight, and after she repeatedly refused, she finally told the truth in a vague way. So, when Erica went back to get her clothes, she looked at Adam with a strange look, as if she was looking at a pervert. In response, Adam smiled and watched her go. In order to make up for the unintentional mistake that he made when he forced Peggy's emotional intelligence to degenerate 10,000 times in order to gain Peggy's friendship and increase her wisdom points, he now has to work 10,000 times harder. He doesn't ask for Peggy to immediately return to being a quirky, high IQ, high EQ, and explosively beautiful girl. As long as Peggy can have more of the fireworks of today's punch, Adam will be satisfied. Chapter 508. Enjoy life while you can. Early the next morning, Adam drove back to New York Medical Center. How was last night? Adam found Christina and asked. I'm doing things. Are you still worried? Christina opened her mouth and reminded. I've paid back the favor I owe you. Of course. Adam smiled and nodded, and said a few words to Christina, and walked into Mr. Martin's VIP ward. After the examination, sure enough, everything was normal. When it was dawn, Dr. Shept came and started the operation directly. This was a minimally invasive operation. An endoscopic scalpel was inserted into Mr. Martin's nose to remove the last capsule tumor of the pituitary gland. The operation was not complicated, and the emphasis was on micromanipulation. It was over soon. After leaving the operating room, I met George, who was in high spirits, in the corridor. Adam, enjoy yourself in time. George pointed at Adam, took the medical record book from the nurse station, and left happily with a twirl. What's the situation? Adam didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Dr. O'Malley was blessed by God today. The most understanding little nurse smiled. God's blessing? Adam was excited. Did he get some rare surgery? No. The most understanding nurse smiled and said, he almost went to see God today, but God sent a holy pigeon and sent him back to the world, so that he could enjoy life and see God when he was old. So he is very excited now. Adam asked a few more questions. Finally, he understood the whole story. It turned out that George bought donuts for breakfast outside the hospital this morning. When he was about to eat, a puddle of bird droppings fell from the sky and hit the donut in George's hand. Disgusted, George immediately threw the donut with added ingredients on the ground. The pigeons were attracted to eat the donut. It was quite like the style of Lao Xing in Wulan Wei's Yuan. When Lao Xing came back from Kyoto to beg, he saw Lao Bei holding a chicken leg in his hand and spit on the chicken leg directly, and then asked, do you want to eat it? Not to eat it, right? Then he took it and ate it. Anyway, it was his saliva. He didn't dislike it. Adam seriously suspected that this pigeon was very human-like. It was cunning and cunning for food. If it wasn't the bird droppings, who else could have done that? George hadn't read Wulan Wei's Yuan and didn't know there was such a trick, so he didn't suspect the pigeon's sinister intentions. Seeing the pigeon eating, he was ready to walk around. Just after leaving that position, a figure fell from the sky, completely covered the pigeon and the donuts, including the place where George had just stood to eat the donuts. In other words, if there was no bird droppings falling from the sky, George himself would have been hit. The other party was a glass washer who fell from the 5th floor. If George was hit, he would be disabled if not dead. What shocked him the most was that the glass washer who fell should have had a collapsed lung, a broken back, and a completely severed aorta, but only his leg bones were broken. This was simply a miracle. No wonder George was so excited. Noon, self-service restaurant. Look, as soon as Adam came over, George presented a bird's claw as a treasure. Is this the holy pigeon that saved you? Adam looked at it. Yes. George played with the bird's claws and said devoutly, I plucked it from the patient's back. I'll find someone to make it. This will be my lucky charm in the future. God is watching me. Oh, Christina laughed. The pigeon was slapped on the patient's back. There are so many pigeon feathers. Why don't you collect them and make a hat or something? That would be a lucky bird crown given to you by God. You don't believe in God? George immediately glared at her. I believe in science, Christina said. Then how do you explain what happened to me today? George asked. It's just dog shit luck. Christina laughed and said, oh, no, it's bird shit luck. Okay. Seeing that the two were about to fight, Adam tried to smooth things over. George, didn't you just say to enjoy life while you can? Arguing with Christina doesn't count as enjoying life while you can. She doesn't know how to be in awe, just like a patient, George said dissatisfiedly. What a shocking miracle, but they are indifferent, huh? Adam's heart moved. The patient is unhappy, huh? George complained. This miracle, the three witnesses, the pigeon has gone to heaven, and only he and I are left in the world. We should have discussed together the gift of God for surviving the catastrophe, and thank God for letting us understand the truth of seizing today and enjoying life while we can. But he was unhappy, didn't want to tell me anything, and complained that I was too noisy. Don't you see the problem? Adam reminded. What's the problem? George was stunned. Christina also looked over. Remember I saved a cross-dresser who jumped off the roof of the hospital a while ago? Adam reminded. If I hadn't reached out and caught him in time, it wouldn't have been a high-heeled shoe that hit my friend Barney's head. Do you think this is a miracle? Are you saying that the patient didn't fall accidentally, but jumped off the building? Christina reacted immediately. If he fell accidentally, he wouldn't have reacted like this. Adam shook his head and said, George, you really should thank God, otherwise you would have died in vain. What? George was stunned, and then his face turned red. The patient who originally thought he was a gift from God turned out to be the murderer who almost killed him. This reversal of change made George unacceptable. I'll go ask him. George got up, grabbed the bird's claw, and ran to the ward. Don't these people who commit suicide have any sense of public morality? Christina complained. Even if you can't think straight, can't you look down before jumping off the building? How can you kill innocent passers-by at every turn? According to the speed of free fall, if the person who commits suicide looks down before jumping, it can basically be guaranteed that he will not accidentally hurt innocent passers-by. Alas, Adam sighed. This kind of thing is not uncommon. Sometimes one person jumps off the building to commit suicide and kills two innocent passers-by. What's more tragic is that sometimes because of the human cushion, innocent passers-by who are living happily die, and the person who commits suicide who doesn't want to live doesn't die. He is taken to the hospital by ambulance and revived by the doctor. According to George, is this God's punishment? After Adam and his friends finished their meal and walked out of the buffet restaurant, they met George with an angry look on his face. Asshole. The little fat man who was always good-tempered directly cursed. Did you jump by yourself? Adam understood. Yes, George said angrily, although he didn't want to admit it. He didn't deny it either. He just acquiesced. No wonder he didn't resonate with my excitement and happiness at all. He's such a bastard. He almost killed me and didn't even apologize to me. Find him a psychologist, Adam reminded. According to the formal process, this is a psychological problem and psychological counseling is required. P.S. Thanks to Desi for the reward. Chapter 509, Rich and Inhumane. At night, near the medical center, there is an elegant bar. Oh, the environment here is better than the McAllen bar. As soon as Dad arrived, he looked around with emotion. Look at this sofa, this booth, this chandelier. Don't you see who brought us in? Lily leaned against Matthew, enjoying the environment in the bar. If Barney knew we left him and ran here, he would probably go crazy. Matthew laughed. He can go crazy. Just don't make me crazy. Adam laughed. Because the work of an intern is too busy, I can only choose a bar near the hospital. While I want to ask Dad for help, we can get together. Joe's bar was originally opposite the hospital. The style and atmosphere are pretty good, and it is the first choice for friends to get together and chat. But the last incident made Adam have a problem with Joe. When Adam saved his life first, he stabbed him in the back for medical expenses. Although it is understandable, but Adam is unwilling to accept it. Since then, Adam has never been to Joe's bar again. The party also found a new place this time. What can I do for you? Dad took the high-end beer Adam ordered for them, drank it happily, and asked comfortably, "This is what happened." Adam processed Erica's situation and briefly introduced it. "This is the wedding of my good friend's mother, so I hope you can give her some good advice." Lily was unhappy when she heard it, and stared at Adam with wide eyes. "You ask Dad for help in this kind of thing? Shouldn't you ask the only experienced bride to be here?" As she said, she pointed at herself. "Of course, I also need your help, Lily." Adam smiled and said, but Ted is more experienced in communicating with women. His sincere eyes are very deceptive, and he can give Erica some emotional guidance. By the way, is Ted better than me? Lily's eyes widened, and her dissatisfaction was about to overflow. Not really. Adam smiled and said, it's mainly because I have a psychological burden and I'm afraid that Matthew will blame me. Why would Matthew blame you? Lily didn't react for a while. Matthew, who was a bystander, had already understood what was going on. He leaned over to Lily and whispered something in her ear. I was just kidding. Lily blushed and covered up. I don't have that tendency. Yeah. Adam nodded seriously. I believe you. Lily, are you sure I can help you? Ted took over the topic. I don't even have a shadow of my other half. I'm confused myself. How can I give emotional guidance to you, my good friend's sister? Just chat. Adam smiled and said, just think of it as saving a good girl from a big devil. Don't feel pressured. I believe you. Ted was speechless. You still call this no pressure? Don't tell Barney about this, Adam reminded. I don't want to cause him any more trouble. We'll cover for you, Lily said. We really can't let Adam and Barney confront each other again, otherwise Barney will go crazy. It's not my fault. Adam shrugged and said, last time I warned him again and asked Matthew to tell him again, seriously, asking him not to provoke Matthew's female professor. What happened? He still went. Matthew sighed. But you also got a B+ for your paper. Ted couldn't help but defend his good friend. You know how much effort Barney put in for your B+. He twisted his waist and was hospitalized again. Even so, he swore that he would win you an A when he was discharged from the hospital. Haha. When Matthew heard this, he thought of the hospital, where his irritable female professor in her 50s gave him a B+ for his paper with a smile on her face, and even took a special look at Barney on the bed, indicating that it was Barney's credit. That scene was so funny. Well, since the result is good, I will forgive Barney for taking a risk on my future. The result is not bad this time. Adam shook his head and said, but do we have to leave the extremely risky results to God every time? Think about the consequences. This is why I deliberately did not call Barney today and asked you to keep it a secret. He is too self-centered. He is not willing to restrain himself even for a good friend. I am speechless to him, but since we are all friends, as long as he does not mess with my things, I will not teach him a lesson. Ted and the other two were silent. Barney has changed a lot. Lily wrinkled her nose and said to smooth things over, he is still messing around, but the scale has been restrained a lot. Yes, Matthew smiled and said, it's really that the lesson you taught him, Adam, is too profound. What do you mean profound? Ted complained. It's chilling. Even I am afraid to think about it. Why are you afraid? Adam smiled and said, you can't do those outrageous things that Barney did. Why do you put yourself in Barney's shoes? Ted was speechless. Can he say that although he was always half-hearted, he really wanted to play with Barney like that? By the way, Adam looked at the time and saw that Erica hadn't arrived yet, so he said to the three people, what do you think of the name of this bar? Lindsay Bar? Lily took a sip of beer. The name is just like that. Why do you ask? I don't think this name is good. I want to change it. Adam smiled and said, what do you think of the Friends Bar? Friends Bar. Everyone tasted it and nodded in approval. It's good, but how do you change its name? Ted asked curiously. Because I'm going to buy this bar. Adam smiled and said, since you all think it's good, I'll use this name when the time comes. What? The three exclaimed. Everyone thinks this place is nice, and it's next to the hospital where I work, Adam explained, so I just had an idea. After I buy this place, everyone can use it as a base in the future. This way, I can come and sit here when I'm free, and I can have more opportunities to get together with everyone. Just because of this? Ted said speechlessly. You just bought a bar casually? Isn't this reason enough? Adam asked back with a smile. This inhumane act left the three poor people speechless. How about it? Adam asked. I'll give each of you a VIP card, a booth that belongs to you exclusively, and everyone's base will move from the McAllen bar to the Old Friend bar in the future. How about it? This? Lily and the other two looked at each other and hesitated. This place is good, but it's still a distance from where we live, and the McAllen bar is downstairs from us. At most, We can come here to sit here on weekends. Okay, Adam said straightforwardly. It's enough if you are willing to come here on weekends. I don't have time to join you if you come here every day. Once a week is just the right frequency. Then why are you still buying it? Ted couldn't help asking. Of course. Adam looked at him in surprise. Why not buy it? Just to get together once a week? Ted couldn't understand Adam's consumption concept. Again, isn't this reason enough? Adam smiled. On the one hand, he bought this bar because he really wanted to get together with Matthew and Chandler more often. Adam still had several years of residency training at the medical center. Studying medicine and saving lives every minute counts. And saving a little time every week, after a few years, is not a small number. He lacks time but not money. In comparison, Lily, Matthew, Chandler, Monica and others hang out in bars and cafes every day, so they don't mind the time on the road. On the other hand, it is also a way to take revenge on Joe's backstabbing. With his popularity in the hospital, as long as he comes here a few more times, many people in the hospital will follow. This will definitely have a great impact on Joe's bar, which specializes in business with medical staff. Finally, Adam can be a conscientious boss, provide the best service in the bar, but not significantly increase the cost, and give some discounts to colleagues in the hospital from time to time. Just as managing the personal connections in the hospital, it's not like you don't make any money. Kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Perfect? P.S. Thanks to the Master's Solar Storm for the reward. Chapter 510. What is the relationship between the three of you? An old friend bar not long ago. Hi, I'm Ted. Hi, I'm Erica. As soon as Erica, who was late, came over, Adam and the other two immediately felt a strong suction force. Ted's classic trance-gazing slow-motion skill reappeared for the nth time. He only had eyes for her. Whenever Ted met a girl of his heart, he would have this reaction. Adam and Lily Matthew looked at each other. They showed a smile that was either playful, sarcastic, or helpless. Adam knew that this wave was stable. It was still questionable whether the passive Ted could complete the task. But Ted, who was proactive, could definitely complete the task. Sure enough, after a brief introduction, Ted's firepower was fully opened, and Erica laughed again and again in a short while. Adam and the other two were ignored by the two of them. Sure enough, as long as you don't feel embarrassed, it's others who are embarrassed. Adam winked at Lily Matthew, said something to the couple who were chatting enthusiastically, and the three of them left the booth one after another. Erica glanced at Adam sheepishly. Ted was totally unaware, and with a few words, he drew Erica's attention back. Boss. The female bodyguard who sent Erica here saw Adam coming out of the bar and hurriedly stepped forward to greet him. Does she have your phone number? Adam asked. Yes. The female bodyguard nodded. You should find a place to rest nearby first. Adam smiled and said, I think it will take a long time. She may not go back tonight. Wait for her to call you and then pick her up. The female bodyguard nodded and drove away. No way, Lily complained. They just met? Do you really think they will be so fast? How long has it been since Ted was romantic? Adam teased. Lily thought for a while. It's been a long time. Ever since he was rejected by the female doctor at the last singles terminal, he has been unhappy. The top matchmaker at the singles terminal said that he broke her 100% matchmaking record, and she was so frustrated that she wanted to close the singles terminal. To be honest, if he can't find the right one, Ted will end up alone. In the end, it was Ted who persuaded her to continue looking for him, slowly, for free. Haha, the female doctor was about to get married at that time. Adam shook his head and laughed. Did Ted really think that he could use the so-called mathematical calculation of a 96% match rate to make the bride-to-be who was getting married in a few days give up her fiancé with an 85% match rate? The female doctor also asked this question. Lily shrugged and said, obviously, Ted thinks it's okay. Sometimes Ted is really shameless. Adam complained, but the romantic little prince needs this kind of shamelessness. Otherwise he can't be romantic at all. This is also a good thing. Matthew didn't want to participate in criticizing his good friend, so he changed the subject. At least the female doctor helped him detect cancer and treated it in time. That mole, Lily exclaimed. Who would have thought that a mole could be cancer? It's so scary, baby. Matthew quickly hugged Lily and comforted her. "We've all been through a comprehensive examination, and none of the moles are cancer. That's basal cell carcinoma," Adam explained. "It's generally benign. The chance of a lesion like Ted's is too small. Don't worry." "I'm just scared." Lily hugged Matthew's arm and shrank back. Adam nodded. There was a time in the previous life when news about cancer caused by moles was all the rage. Many people, like Lily, worried whether their moles would also lesion and become cancer. After all, most people have one or two moles on their bodies. Adam was also worried. Then, after various news about laser mole removal became popular, Adam breathed a sigh of relief. One is science. The other is marketing. This kind of bad news is marketing trying to make money, which is obviously good news. This is exactly the case. Like countless similar news, a gust of wind passed and nothing was left. In this life, after studying medicine, there will be no such doubts. But when Ted came to him to remove the mole, the first thought in Adam's mind was Sheldon. Because of Missy's crotch-licking kick, Sheldon often complained that he should have worked harder to absorb Missy completely when he was in his mother's belly. In this way, he no longer has a hateful twin sister, but only a mole. The cancer of Ted's mole made Adam think of another possibility. Fortunately, Sheldon did not use too much force. Otherwise, if Missy was really absorbed by him and turned into a mole, it would most likely become cancerous and then kill her own brother. This is the real love-hate relationship. The next time Sheldon complains again, Adam is ready to tease him about this, which will definitely make Sheldon's eyes pop out. "Let's go." Matthew looked into the bar and saw that Ted and Erica were getting closer and closer while laughing, and he agreed with Adam's judgment in his heart. More than a month of window period is already Ted's limit. Not to mention that Erica was originally a beauty. Even if it was an ordinary girl, Ted would probably be in a romantic mood. "I still think it's too fast." Lily also took a look and shook her head. "Haha." Adam couldn't help laughing. "What are you laughing at?" Lily was sensitive to the offense from the laughter. "Nothing." Adam laughed. "Just remembered what Ted said about you guys in the college dormitory." At the beginning, Lily and Matthew got together as soon as they entered college, and then progressed rapidly. That night, they talked about love in the dormitory. Matthew was a man, and at this time he was still obese. Second base and third base could no longer satisfy his desire for attack. Lily stopped him and used various petty bourgeoisie scenes to describe the atmosphere they should have had for the first time. A high-end suite facing the sea, flowers, candles, red wine, heartfelt underwear. In short, everything must be perfect. However, 3 minutes later, this dream scene had disappeared. Just kidding. They were all young men and women full of blood. At this moment, who could resist? "It's not Liu's Ihui." Therefore, Matthew proposed to do it again. Lily didn't refuse, nor did she want to. Only Ted, who was doubting his life because of the shaking of the bed by the laws of physics, firmly expressed his opposition. Unfortunately, his opposition was ineffective. Matthew threw him a Walkman and headphones and left him alone. As it turned out, the headphones and music were useless. Hee. Matthew laughed. "Oh, stop laughing." Lily's face flushed, and she patted Matthew's shoulder and Adam's shoulder. Okay, we won't laugh." Adam held back his laughter and said seriously, "They are indeed progressing faster. But as long as it doesn't happen a second time, we can understand." Duncan. Lily rushed over with her teeth and claws bared. There was a fight. Adam was questioned by Lily about Robin and Erica's sister Peggy. He looked like, "What is the relationship between the three of you?" "I think it's a little abnormal." Adam smiled and responded naturally, "We are all good friends." Then, the hospital suddenly became very busy, and Adam left directly. Chapter 511. What a Little Genius Medical Center. Emergency Room. Dr. Duncan. There is a 5-year-old child with some heart problems in the number 1 clinic. The nurse saw Adam come in and immediately greeted him. "Okay, I got it." Adam walked over quickly. An African-American girl was lying there, having difficulty breathing. Aortic coarctation, sudden severe dyspnea, respiratory rate 40, blood pressure 180/100ths, tachycardia, mid-systolic murmur. Adam said as he checked, "Give her 20 milligrams of furosemide." "Yes, doctor." The nurse quickly injected the diuretic into the little girl. "What's her name?" Adam asked. "Grisa." The nurse replied. "Hi, Grisa. I'm Dr. Duncan." Adam leaned over to look at the confused little girl and said in a gentle voice, "Did you touch anything you shouldn't touch, or eat anything you shouldn't eat?" Grisa shook her head with difficulty. "Have her family come?" Adam looked up and asked the nurse. "Her father and sister are on their way," the nurse replied. "Doctor," another nurse reminded, "her heart rate has changed." Ventricular tachycardia. Adam looked at the monitor and frowned. 20 milligrams of lidocaine. Intravenous injection. "Yes, doctor," the nurse responded immediately. "Have you got her medical records?" Adam asked, searching the database. The nurse replied. "Doctor, she has a fever," the nurse reminded. "Gastrointestinal lavage is done immediately, and she is ready for lavage," Adam ordered. "Then do a toxicology test on her." "Is she poisoned?" the nurse was surprised. "Yes," Adam nodded. "Let the laboratory check as soon as possible to see what she has eaten." "Yes, doctor," the nurse agreed, skillfully drew blood from Grisa, and then took the blood sample to the laboratory for toxicology testing. After Adam gave Grisa gastric lavage, the symptoms of poisoning, such as fever, ventricular arrhythmia, hypertension, and anxiety, all eased. At the laboratory, because Adam's name was reported, it was expedited and the toxicology test report was delivered quickly. "Damn it." Adam took it and looked at it, and couldn't help cursing. The nurse also showed an angry expression, but the test results showed that 5-year-old Grisa had taken too much cocaine. "This is a strong drug. She is only 5 years old." "Dr. Duncan, do we need to notify the Child and Family Services Agency?" the nurse asked. "Yes," Adam nodded. "In the United States, any harm to children, whether intentional or unintentional, will attract an investigation by the Child Protection Organization. Hospitals and doctors, as long as they find it, must also report it according to procedures." "Dr. Duncan, Grisa's family has arrived," the nurse reminded. "Let them wait." Adam continued to treat Grisa. Now that the cause of the disease has been figured out, it only needs to be treated appropriately, and there is no need to rush to ask the family about Grisa's past medical history. Wait until the Child and Family Services Agency sends someone over. Adam and the other party will come out together. The Child and Family Services Agency came quickly. It was a middle-aged African woman. "Miss McGillis, this is the situation." Adam introduced Grisa's condition. "The family is in the waiting area. Let's go over and take a look," Ms. McGillis said with a heavy face. "Okay." Adam nodded and took her to the family waiting area. A strong middle-aged African-American man sat there anxiously, with a teenage African-American girl leaning on his shoulder, wearing headphones on her ears and closing her eyes. "Mr. Freeman," the nurse came forward and called. "How is my daughter?" Mr. Freeman helped the African-American girl lean back on the chair, stood up, and asked anxiously. "She's fine." Adam nodded to him. "Thank God." Mr. Freeman raised his hands high, thanked God first, then walked over and stretched out his hand to shake Adam's hand. "Thank you, doctor. I want to see her now." "Don't worry," Adam introduced. "This is Miss McGillis from the Child and Family Services Agency. She has something to tell you." "What is your legal name and address?" Ms. McGillis asked expressionlessly. "What?" Mr. Freeman's smile froze immediately. He looked at Adam, then at Miss McGillis, who was already sitting in her chair and asking questions seriously, and asked in confusion, "What happened?" He was not stupid. This was obviously not a good sign. "Please tell me your legal name and address." Ms. McGillis repeated her request expressionlessly. This time, it was not a request, but a demand. "Where is Grisa? I want to see her, now," Mr. Freeman said irritably. "Your 5-year-old daughter overdosed on cocaine," Adam reminded him. Mr. Freeman was stunned, then turned around, put his hands on the counter, buried his head and shook his head. Obviously he understood everything. Tim Morgan Freeman, address. After a while, Mr. Freeman calmed down, turned around, faced Miss McGillis, and reported his information. "It wasn't me. I don't know where Grisa got the cocaine from." "Okay." Ms. McGillis closed the record sheet and nodded. "Our Child and Family Services Agency will conduct a door-to-door tracking." "That's it?" the nurse said in disbelief. He has committed a crime of endangering children. Mr. Freeman is middle class, has his own job and his own home. Ms. McGillis explained, I have many families living in cars. I believe Mr. Freeman, and we will follow up. Adam understood, this situation is too common in the United States. If the environment where the source cannot be controlled does not change, it is impossible to rely on a few staff members of these agencies to manage it. Otherwise, when Adam traveled through time, there would not be such a jaw-dropping operation of directly publicizing the innocents. The logic here is that since it cannot be managed, just let it go. The government's formalization and marketization not only saves the huge amount of financial resources consumed by anti-secretary every year, but also earns the bulk of the huge income of criminals. One positive and one negative. It's all uncountable money. The one who came up with this idea was a little genius. This move actually won the support of most Americans. The people of the West Poison naturally agreed with both hands, and no longer had to hide. The police no longer had to risk opening fire to intercept the criminals in the West Poison. Taxpayers finally didn't have to spend their taxes on such a rotten thing. Anyway, it's okay for them not to smoke. Who cares if others smoke to death? Everyone is happy. However, in this environment, children like Carissa, who have no self-control and are curious about everything, are more likely to be exposed to drugs, and the chance of accidentally ingesting them or trying them with their friends will increase dramatically. It's just like when Adam was a child in his previous life. He and his friends stole adult cigarettes and learned to smoke like adults. After being choked a few times, Adam threw it away, and he didn't smoke it when he grew up. But many of the other friends enjoyed the adults' good things happily, and most of them couldn't leave their cigarettes when they grew up. This is the case with cigarettes. Not to mention drugs, which are countless times more addictive. When that time comes, the upper and middle classes who only want to stop smoking and not waste their tax revenue will probably find out painfully that they can manage themselves but not their children. The country that dared not believe that it had perished because of the East evil and the West poison and the legend may be able to succeed in the East and West and be reborn through a shell. The world is mysterious. Nothing is more mysterious than this. P.S. Thanks to Desi for the reward. Chapter 512 Gokayang Y is here. Medical Center. Emergency room. Now, can I see my Carissa? Mr. Freeman asked in a deep voice. Of course. Adam nodded and pointed to the African-American girl who was leaning against the wall and listening to music with her eyes closed. But your eldest daughter also needs your care. A trace of panic flashed in Freeman's eyes. This way, please. Adam sighed in his heart and stretched out his hand to signal him to follow. Mr. Freeman followed Adam and walked into the ward, interacting with his youngest daughter Carissa. It can be seen that he still loves his daughter very much. Doctor, when can Carissa go home? Mr. Freeman walked to Adam and asked. Just observe for a few hours. Adam said, but before she is discharged from the hospital, can you guarantee that she will not come into contact with cocaine next time? If I am not mistaken, your eldest daughter is in the West Poison, right? She also brought cocaine home. Doctor, do you have children? Mr. Freeman did not deny it. He was silent for a moment and asked, Don't. Adam's mouth twitched and he shook his head. No. Then you don't understand the feelings of being a parent. Mr. Freeman glanced in the direction of his eldest daughter with a sad expression. My wife died last year. During that time, my eldest daughter Sandra quarreled with her every day, a typical adolescent rebellion. After my wife died, I didn't know how to communicate with Sandra, but I could feel that sometimes Sandra didn't want to live at all. I can introduce you to a good psychiatrist. Adam sighed in his heart and said, Sandra needs help, but this kind of thing must be prohibited and cannot spread to Carissa. She almost died today. Thank you, doctor. Mr. Freeman forced a smile. The smile was full of powerlessness. Adam could understand it. Once you get addicted to calves, it basically destroys your family. It can't be solved by seeing a psychiatrist. The rational approach is to send her to a special institution for compulsory drug rehabilitation. But when it comes to Sandra, who doesn't want to live, how can Mr. Freeman, as a father, dare to do this? If she is sent in during the day, she may commit suicide at night. Wouldn't that be equivalent to him forcing his daughter to death? Moreover, Many drug offenders directly do business in drug rehabilitation centers. On one side is the painful withdrawal reaction. On the other side is the drugs within reach. It is self-evident how to choose. Even if you successfully quit drugs in the drug rehabilitation institutions that regular drug offenders cannot enter, once you get out, the probability of relapse is still skyrocketing. There is really no way to think about it. Why do those regular drug offenders, such as Fried Chicken Brother, strictly require their subordinates not to use drugs? Why do those who want to control the women trafficked to sell their bodies to make money make them addicted to drugs in the first step? Aren't they just drug addicts who have no bottom line? Once the drug addiction comes, in order to be able to take a puff, they will do anything, and you can ask her to do anything. Isabel's magic medicine. No matter how you humiliate her or even beat her, she will move forward bravely and never give up. Compared with drug addiction, it is just a younger brother. If Mr. Freeman can't make up his mind, not only Sandro can't be saved, but Carissa will probably not be saved either. He was just an ordinary middle-class man. How could he have so much money to support Sandra like this? Once he ran out of money, Adam had no doubt that Sandra, who was addicted to calves, would even sell her sister Carissa. Although he understood, but Adam could do nothing about it. He could only accompany Mr. Freeman to be sad for a while, and then turned and left. This was the first one, but it was definitely not the last one Adam met. Adam. Amy, are you here to help Leonard decorate his office again? Adam ran into a fashionable girl and couldn't help but smile. Yes. Leonard's second daughter, Rachel's second sister, Amy Green, hugged Adam affectionately and said proudly, "I'm an interior designer." Yeah. Adam smiled in agreement. Leonard likes the office style you designed and decorated the most. It doesn't matter if you don't like it. It's better to have something to do than to make trouble out of nothing. This is Leonard's greatest expectation for his second daughter. As for the interior designer, of course Amy called herself that. She has the demeanor of some marketing geniuses. If she has any connection with it, she can brag about it. Interior designer sounds better than unemployed. Tonight is Rachel's baby shower. You didn't go? Amy laughed. Are there any men going? Adam said speechlessly. Rachel is due to give birth in a week. Tonight's party is hosted by Monica and Phoebe. It is mainly for Rachel's female friends to give gifts to Emma, who is about to be born. The gifts are also some things that new mothers need. According to tradition, men are not invited. Of course there is. Amy said, "That guy, I originally thought he was Rachel's new boyfriend. I even praised him, saying that he was much cuter than the previous silly ex-boyfriend, but he insisted that the ex-boyfriend was him." Whether they were the same person, how could I not know? I explained to him that I was talking about the weird boy in Rachel's high school, who seemed to have liked Rachel since the 9th grade, but he seemed to be a little confused and thought I was talking about him. So I could only further describe him as Rachel's fat follower's brother, with a ridiculous black afro. I didn't expect him to be angry. I really don't know what's wrong with him. Originally I was just worried that Emily would inherit Rachel's big nose. Now, whenever I think of her parents being like this, I feel sad for her. If it were me, I would never want to be born in this world. Ahem. Seeing that Amy was getting more and more outrageous, Adam had to interrupt. The only man at the party you saw was the weird boy who had a crush on Rachel in high school. That is, Rachel's ex-boyfriend, Emma's father. Who is Emma? Amy said seriously. Rachel's unborn baby will be named Emma. Adam reminded. Her name is not Emily. Ha, so that's how it is, but it doesn't matter. Amy waved her hands, not wanting to think too much. Do you know how excessive Rachel is? I was so busy, but I still took time out to attend the party and gave her a gift that I carefully selected. But what did she give me in return? What? Adam asked politely. Shame. Amy was furious. I am her sister, my real sister. She works at Ralph Lauren and has a Ralph Lauren discount card that gives her a 30% discount, but she won't let me use it and asked me to buy it at the retail price. Do you think she is a human being? Rachel is still pregnant, Adam advised. I think you should please her and let her feel the beauty of family love. Then she will definitely lend it to you. Humphrey. Amy snorted. It's just a 30% discount. I don't care. It's a 50% discount. Adam reminded. Rachel has been promoted to management. That bitch. Amy couldn't listen anymore and cursed directly. A 50% discount? How much money can you save in a luxury store? She doesn't care about money. Anyway, she didn't earn it. Her father is a famous doctor and has plenty of money. She doesn't feel bad about spending any money. Inexplicably heard Leonard for 3 seconds. What she cares about is the face of shopping with her sisters and getting a 50% discount. Rachel obviously has it, but she doesn't lend it to her. With this attitude, you won't be able to borrow money. Adam had to remind her. Rachel, my dearest sister. Amy smiled and stretched out her hand to signal Adam to wait a moment. She took the phone from her LV handbag and called Rachel. She began to please Rachel in a coquettish tone. It smells so good. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 513. Respect ghosts and keep away. Medical center. Bitch, Amy said coquettishly for a while, and then she started arguing with Rachel on the other end of the phone. Adam wanted to leave, but Amy gestured to Adam not to leave first. Adam could only wait there politely and listen to the daily life of the three Green sisters. Amy accused Rachel of being too selfish, as always in typical Rachel style, and said that Rachel broke up her and a handsome boy named Demi in junior high school. Then Rachel's roar came from the other end of the phone. Demi is my boyfriend. There was no need to have good hearing. It was just like turning on the external speaker of the mobile phone and adding a speaker. Amy just remembered this, but she was also experienced, and she shouted back directly with confidence. This is all old news. Why do you keep bringing it up? Adam had to praise Amy's psychological quality when he saw it. Rachel couldn't stand it first and hung up the phone. Amy was still cursing. What's Demi? Barry. Amy put away her phone and muttered a few words. Seeing Adam looking at her strangely, she immediately changed her face to that of a celebrity, lifted her long hair, and showed her brightest smile. Adam, do you want to go out for a drink? Sorry, I'm still at work. Adam refused her invitation as usual, smiled apologetically, and walked towards the nurse's station. Boring. Amy shouted behind Adam. You are even less interesting than the old man, and you are wasting your conditions. Adam didn't even turn his head, but just stretched out his hand and waved. He knew that Amy's words were not without reason. Recently, Amy has been busy redecorating Leonard's office. Adam often met her. Several times, Adam heard her talking on the phone, and from the conversation, he could tell that the other party was a married old man. But he should be very rich. There is a luxury apartment on 5th Avenue, the kind that opens to the living room as soon as the elevator door opens. Obviously, Amy also has a plan. Leonard, the father, always praised his eldest daughter Rachel for being self-reliant. He was very pleased and asked her and the third child Jill to learn from their eldest sister. The third child Jill was a loser who only cared about her father's property. She shouted that she would find a lawyer to sue her father and take all his money. In the future, she would only give her father a little pocket money. If she was unhappy, she would cut off his pocket money and let him taste her pain. She was much smarter. How much money did her father have? First, half of it was taken by her mother after the divorce. Then she and the third child always caused trouble. What if her father suddenly passed away one day, and the family property would have to be divided among 3 people? She was naturally not satisfied with her high vision, so she was also looking for her own career. Easy. Make a lot of money. Is there any? Of course there is. Isn't her mother a ready-made example? As long as she marries a rich man, even if she can't inherit the property completely, she can get half. The proportion and upper limit are much better than waiting to inherit her father's property. At first, she had her eyes on Adam. He was super rich and super handsome, but Adam didn't give her any chance at all. She was very angry, and then one day she suddenly realized, being young and handsome has its advantages. Old men have their charms. She would marry the old man, work hard for a few years, and when the old man died, she would receive all his property and become a super rich woman. When she was the master of the house, what couldn't she do? How many young and handsome men did she want? Maybe Adam would come to please her. Yeah, this is a bit difficult, but it is not impossible. What if Adam went bankrupt one day? Every time Amy thought of this, she could laugh out loud. This is the most cost-effective way to struggle. Although this old man is her ex-boyfriend's father, although her ex-boyfriend and his mother hated her, but who cares? It's not like the old man had only her as a girlfriend. It's not the first time her ex-boyfriend has encountered such a thing. It's just the difference between active and passive. Although Amy doesn't like reading, but she knew that this kind of thing was definitely not new in the past and present. She was not the only one who had such little sisters around her. Why couldn't she do what they did? Adam knew all of Amy's thoughts, but he couldn't tell Leonard. He was afraid that Leonard would be angry. Besides, Amy was so old, and her worldview had been shattered. Leonard couldn't control her even if he wanted to. The dressing room and lounge in the emergency room were combined. In addition to a few rows of lockers, there were sofas, coffee tables, water dispensers, refrigerators, microwave ovens and other living room furnishings. The doctors and nurses in the emergency room took turns to bring some food from time to time and put it there. Whoever was hungry could take the time to come and fill up. Adam went to talk to Dr. Lewis about something. He came over after hearing the most understanding nurse say that she should be here. "Hey, handsome doctor." When he pushed the door open, he saw a woman in her 30s with broad bones eating the donuts of the doctors and nurses. When she saw him come in, she flirted with him in a frivolous way. Chloe, Susan Lewis, the resident doctor in the emergency room, also pushed the door open at this time. Seeing this, she quickly stopped him and smiled at Adam apologetically and helplessly. "Adam, I'm sorry, this is my sister." "What's wrong?" the woman named Chloe said nonchalantly. "I said he was handsome. I was praising him." Then, without giving Susan the chance to continue speaking, she rushed over and gave her a bear hug. "Susan, my little sister." After letting go, Chloe started to touch her again. "Look at you, stethoscope, white coat, doctor's appearance, and a small badge. Hey, it's uglier than the photo on your driver's license. Hey, is this a push-up bra?" As she said that, she stretched out her hand and pulled it, and looked inside. "Don't do that." Susan blushed and quickly opened her sister's dirty claws, covered her chest, and looked at Adam embarrassedly. "I have something else to do." Seeing this, Adam didn't rush to talk to Susan and just left. "Dr. Lewis' sister is here again. She is so rude. The donuts in the lounge are going to be ruined again." "It's okay. Dr. Lewis will make it up to her later. Dr. Lewis is such a good person." "Why is her sister like this?" "I once heard her sister scolding her, saying that she is successful in her career now, so what's wrong with taking care of her sister who has nothing? Are there not many people like her? Just look at her appearance. She must be the kind of person who hangs out all day, doesn't want to work, and only knows how to be a parasite. Dr. Lewis should reject her, otherwise it will never end. No hope." Look at how Dr. Lewis treats his patients, not to mention her own sister. She is being taken advantage of by her sister. Alas, Dr. Lewis is really pitiful for having such a sister. "I heard that Dr. Lewis and her ex-boyfriend were about to get married, but the boyfriend couldn't stand his sister, so they broke up in the end. Dr. Lewis sends her sister $500 every month. It's probably not enough. Looking at her sister's condition, she must be a poisoner. She's probably here to ask for money again." The nurse's whispered gossip reached Adam's ears. Adam shook his head. Another poor man. Dr. Lewis was indeed a very good person. However, Adam secretly decided to keep his distance from Dr. Lewis in the future. He could understand the behavior of Dr. Lewis' ex-boyfriend who was about to get married. This was not against individuals. It was to respect ghosts and gods and stay away from them. Chapter 514. I'm always too soft-hearted. The next day, medical center. Emergency room. "Dr. Lewis, don't you take a day off today?" Adam kindly reminded. "No, I'm fine." Susan lowered her head, not wanting others to see her slightly red and swollen eyes. Alas, Adam sighed in his heart. This must have been because he cried all night. "Dr. Lewis, Dr. Duncan." The door of the emergency room was pushed open, and two trolleys were pushed in one after the other by the emergency personnel, and the nurse was calling. "What's the situation?" Adam and Susan hurried to meet them. As expected, another car accident. Fortunately, the two car owners did not carry anyone. It was not a tragedy that a family was not carried. "Duncan, leave this to you. I'll take care of that," Susan commanded. "Okay." Adam immediately agreed, pushed the trolley into the treatment room, and gave first aid. Susan was giving first aid to another injured person next door, when Adam stabilized the patient's condition and was about to go to the operating room. The anxious reminder of the nurse came from next door, Dr. Duncan. Then, a nurse pushed the door open and greeted Adam. Adam could only let the nurses in his group push the patient to the operating room first, and he followed to the next room. The alarms on the monitor kept coming one after another. Susan seemed a little overwhelmed. Adam immediately took over, and after a rescue, he stabilized the patient's condition. Then, he followed the patient to the surgical operating room. After the operation, when he came out, it was already noon. Adam was about to go to the cafeteria. He met Susan in the corridor, who seemed to be waiting for someone. Adam understood. She was waiting for him. This first aid, according to Susan's usual level, would not be a problem at all. But this time something went wrong. If it weren't for Adam's rescue, the patient would probably die. Susan's condition was obviously greatly affected. Susan saw Adam coming out of the operating room and hurried to meet him. "Don't worry. The patient is fine." Adam directly said what she wanted to hear most now. "Thank God." Susan leaned against the wall and breathed a sigh of relief. "Dr. Lewis, why don't you go back and take a rest today? Come back when you are in good condition?" Adam couldn't help but remind her again. Okay. Susan also understood what Adam didn't say. If she was not in good condition, she might really kill the patient. This was a big blow to her, who always cared about the patient the most. In addition to the previous troubles, she agreed with her mouth, but she couldn't help squatting down and sobbing. A lady in her 30s cried like a helpless child. Adam's mouth twitched, looking left and right, and he was also helpless, although he had decided to keep a distance from Susan. But Susan was very good to him before and gave him all kinds of conveniences. Now that she was like this, it would be a bit unreasonable for Adam to ignore her and leave directly. "Dr. Lewis," Adam had to ask patiently, "is there anything bothering you?" No, Susan said with her head down. "Oh." Adam didn't know whether he should continue to ask, and was hesitating whether to leave. Susan's sobbing became louder. "Oh, is it about your sister?" Adam could only continue to comfort her patiently. "Just consider it as repaying Susan's previous favor." "Yeah." Susan wiped her tears and said sadly, "I really don't know how to treat Chloe." Then, she talked to Adam about the whole story. Last night, her sister did come to her to ask for money, but she went to medical school and also had a heavy student loan. The salary of a resident doctor is not high, and after paying off the monthly student loan, rent, and living expenses, there is not much left. That's it. She also needs to support her sister with $500 every month. She really has no savings, so she rejected her sister. Just when she thought her sister would pester her, she didn't expect her sister to be reasonable and didn't make a fuss with her. She just said that she had no place to live and needed to stay at her place for a few weeks. Susan was naturally unwilling. She knew what kind of person her sister was. She really didn't want to face her sister's shady friends in her own home. Then, her sister took another step back and said that she would only stay for a few days and promised not to bring friends. She still didn't want to. The apartment was not big, and she had her own private life. It was really inconvenient with her sister around. But her sister looked at her pitifully, saying that their parents had kicked her out, and she was homeless, and now she was the only one left. There was nothing she could do. She could only agree, and after making 3 rules with her sister, she gave her the key. When she was done, she returned home late at night and was stunned. The apartment looked like it had been swept away. Even the TV embedded in the wall of the bedroom was violently dismantled and moved away. What made her even more painful was that the commemorative gifts given to her by her ex-boyfriend, who she almost married and loved deeply, which she treasured, were all swept away. The box was also smashed and thrown there. The key she gave was placed in the most conspicuous place, as if her sister was saying, "Sister, I give you the key, put it away, don't forget it." Susan collapsed on the ground helplessly. facing the apartment that she had originally decorated warmly and comfortably but was now in a mess. She sat there and cried all night. Her sister didn't even have a mobile phone. Susan couldn't find her to scold her. This kind of thing is not the first time. Every time, when her wounds have just healed and she has regained her confidence in life and her recognition of family affection, her sister suddenly appears in front of her. Then, it keeps repeating. "I think you should call the police," Adam couldn't help but say after listening to the story. "This is clearly a burglary." "But she is my sister." Susan couldn't bear it and said, "How can I watch her go to jail?" Adam was speechless. Every family has its own problems. Then take a good rest and adjust your state before coming to work. Adam suppressed the complaints in his heart and said in a proper manner, "Otherwise, you can't work in your current state." Distance does not separate relatives. No matter how bad Susan's sister Chloe is, seeing Susan's attitude towards her, Adam would be stupid to be a bad person. "Thank you, I'm fine." Susan has been talking and venting for a while, and she has felt much better. She wiped the tears from her face, stood up, said something, and left in a hurry. She is also a sensitive person. Adam's attitude is very similar to her ex-boyfriend who almost got married. They always tried to persuade her to stay away from her sister. After several times, seeing that they could not persuade her, they gradually became indifferent, gradually widened the distance between them, and finally broke up without looking back. She herself had also learned a little psychology, so she naturally knew that she could not blame others for such things. The best way to deal with it was to listen to other people's advice and stay away from her sister completely. But every time her sister showed up and played with her a few times as usual, she would instantly recall the warm scenes when her sister took care of her when she was a child. At that time, her sister really loved her. She was completely two different people from now. She missed her sister's kindness in the past and could not completely cut off ties with her. Chapter 515, Same Person, Different Fate. Susan's family has its own problems. Time flies. In a blink of an eye, a week has passed. Rachel's due date has arrived. With the relationship between Adam and Leonard, Rachel naturally doesn't have to wait until she is about to give birth before rushing to the hospital and staying in the delivery ward. She doesn't have to share a double room with other pregnant women. Adam has already made a reservation and booked the best VIP delivery room. He also invited the most popular and powerful neonatal director Dr. Montgomery to deliver Rachel. "Rachel, this is Dr. Liz Stevenson, Dr. Shep's most proud assistant. If you have anything, you can call her. Of course, you can call me Liz. This is my good friend Rachel. Thank you for your help." Adam introduced the two. Dr. Montgomery was so busy that she came to see her and left. She would only come when the baby really started. Hi. Rachel and Liz greeted each other. "You are beautiful." "Thank you. You too." After some greetings, Adam and Liz walked out of the ward. She doesn't need to come so early. Many pregnant women give birth later than the due date. Liz couldn't help but say, "She has no signs at all now." "I know." Adam smiled. "Come early to get familiar with the environment in advance. In fact, she has had enough and can't wait to give birth immediately and get rid of such a big burden. If you dare to say no, she will get angry. Pregnant women are like this." Liz smiled understandingly. "Don't worry, I will pay more attention to her." "Thank you very much." Adam smiled. "I will come more often. In fact, if it is not inconvenient, it is best for me to be her resident doctor." "What's inconvenient?" Liz smiled playfully. "Aren't you good friends?" Obviously, she has also heard Adam's good friend theory. "It's not what you think." Adam shook his head. "The father of the child is also my good friend, so it's inconvenient. As a resident doctor of a pregnant woman, it is inevitable to observe the size of the birth canal opening. If Adam hadn't been chaste, he would have given in to Rachel, and it would be nothing at this time. After all, if there is one, there will be two. 1 and 0 are completely different." Adam can look at it professionally. Rachel thinks it won't be a big problem, but Ross will probably be in a bad mood, whining and complaining about all kinds of inappropriate things. Although he has no right to speak, he will definitely speak. This is Ross. After explaining to Liz, Adam went back to the delivery room. "When can I give birth?" Rachel asked, touching her belly. "I don't know." Adam smiled and said, Take your time. I don't want to take your time. Rachel leaned her head back and said anxiously, I want to give birth to Emma right now. Aren't you a surgeon? Just give me a cesarean section. I don't want to wait any longer. Don't be ridiculous. Adam walked over and comforted her. Of course I'd give you a natural birth if I could. Natural birth hurts so much, Rachel said a little madly. Phoebe showed me a video of a natural birth. It was so horrible. It's better to have a cesarean section. The sooner you do it, the easier it will be. Do you need me to call Leonard? Adam was about to make a phone call. Although he's in surgery right now, I think he can educate you while he's doing the surgery when he hears this news. Don't. Rachel was most afraid of her father yelling at her, so she immediately put away her frenzy when she heard that. Don't tell me you don't know the difference between a natural birth and a cesarean section, Adam said seriously. A cesarean section always requires a cut, and there are risks when you cut. Anesthesia and infection are both life-threatening. Not only will it leave scars, but it will also seriously damage your vitality. It's not just bad for pregnant women, it's also bad for children, because during the process of normal delivery, pregnant women will have regular uterine contractions before delivery, and the child will be squeezed when passing through the birth canal, and the cardiopulmonary function can be exercised. The amniotic fluid and various excrement in the child's mouth can be squeezed out during this process, and the chance of infection will be greatly reduced. The physical fitness is better than that of children born by cesarean section. Children born by cesarean section have weaker constitutions, and it is normal to go to the hospital every few days after birth. These basic common sense should be known by every pregnant woman. But in the tough West, it is possible that tough pregnant women don't care about these things and don't know these things. Rachel was also on her due date and was given a holiday by the company, so she thought about giving birth quickly and then going back to work. Her job is very popular. Just look at how much her sister Amy cares about her 50% discount card from Ralph Lauren. Welfare is linked to status, although there's legal protection. God knows what means those coquettish bitches who are eyeing her position will use to get to the top. Just like in The Big Bang Theory, when Bernadette saw her competitor gaining weight, she spread rumors that she was pregnant. Then the project that originally belonged to her competitor fell into her hands. After she gave birth to a child, retribution came. A female colleague was very considerate and told her to stay in bed and rest more, because her health was important. Then she tried her best to grab her position. Fortunately, she was not an ordinary person. She was short, had a baby face, and was a drama queen. She learned how to use this disadvantage to turn it into an advantage and use it to threaten the boss. A soul-searching question: when it comes to the court, will the jury believe him or her? The boss saw that such a cute and innocent child could not lie, so he immediately backed down and kept the position that was prepared for someone else until Bernadette's maternity leave was over. Rachel obviously does not have Bernadette's means. She is more like Penny. Both of them are naive. The biggest difference between Bernadette, who has superb means, and naive people like them can be summarized with a simple example. Since she was a child, the short Bernadette has learned to use her advantage to aim at the fatal spot of men. She hits them accurately every time, and men are afraid of her. But Penny is a naive person, aiming at the same spot, but she has learned a different set of boxing skills. I know, Rachel said irritably. It's just that I have been pregnant for so long. Although I told them before that I enjoy this period of time where everyone cares for me and helps me, this kind of life must end as soon as possible. Don't even think about a cesarean section. Adam smiled, but there are other more effective ways to speed up this process. What are they? Rachel's eyes lit up. You can drink some herbal tea, castor oil, eat spicy food, and take long walks. Adam smiled playfully. Of course, the most effective way requires the help of the child's father. The child's father? Rachel was stunned. You mean Ross? How can he help? Haha. Adam smiled. Rachel, believe me, he has the greatest effect. This is the result of a scientific experiment. Then tell me quickly. I will let him come over and do it now. Rachel urged. Ahem. Adam coughed lightly. It's still broad daylight. Let's wait until night. Then I'll help you transfer the nurses here, so there will be less interference. Then, he whispered the scientific method to Rachel. Ah, Rachel exclaimed, subconsciously looking at Adam. Are you sure it has to be Ross? Adam. P.S. Thank you Desi for the reward. Chapter 516 Best Midwifery Medical Center. VIP delivery room. Not necessary. Facing Rachel's heartfelt words, Adam's mouth twitched. But it's better to be Ross. After all, he is Emma's father. He probably doesn't want others to help him at this time. Forget it. Rachel pouted and said, a few days ago, I remembered that we didn't buy any big items, so I asked him to go shopping in the baby store with me. His mind was all hooked by that slut salesperson. Where did he think of us mother and daughter? Is Ross in love again? Adam frowned. At this time, if I wasn't unhappy, he would have gone long ago. Rachel was annoyed when she talked about this. That slut salesperson actually delivered to my door and asked him out directly. When I said I didn't want to see this, he said he wouldn't talk to the other party. But if I didn't say anything, he happily accepted other people's invitations. Others only said that they would get together next time, but he directly said that he had time now. Although I thank him for taking care of my feelings at this time, I want to say, do you really think I'm stupid? Is this also called not wanting to talk at all? Generally speaking, those who say definitely next time are perfunctory. Ross's definitely now is the real truth. A man who can overcome lust means he is truly affectionate. Adam said with a smile. It also means he really cares about you and your daughter. There is another possibility. Rachel sneered. He was afraid my father would find out, so he shot him. Haha. Adam nodded and smiled. That possibility cannot be ruled out. But Leonard doesn't know how to use a gun. What he is best at is a scalpel. Anyway, Emma is about to be born, and some of Ross's parts are useless. If Leonard is really angry, Ross will probably be stabbed. Wait until I give birth to Emma before I do it. Rachel smiled, then complained, but looking at his look, I guess he won't agree. He is so hypocritical. When he was secretly in love with me, even if I was pregnant with someone else's child, he would definitely not be like this when he said this. Adam grinned. Men, they are all like this. You only hear the laughter of new people, and you never hear the tears of old people. Not every man is like Adam, who adheres to the principle of new clothes and old people. Alas, as a good man, Adam sometimes feels a little lonely and desolate because of this. Few male compatriots can understand his idea. Fortunately, he still has many good female friends who encourage and support him. Otherwise, he would have been depressed long ago. Adam, help me think about other candidates. Rachel said, I don't want to find a stranger. You can find your old friend Owen Lee. Adam complained, if he helps, as long as you hold back and don't say anything, I can call Dr. Montgomery to deliver your baby now. Who is Owen Lee? Rachel said in a daze. I don't know him. A professional with special skills. Adam perfunctorily said, but he was amused in his heart. In a parallel universe, Rachel's old lover Owen Lee has a long list of titles such as Krypton Life Academic Master, Dolphin Lover, and Eternal Kidney King. If you think about it carefully, you can really add the title of the best midwife. After all, in a normal vaginal delivery, pregnant women scream and exhaust themselves, and it takes several hours or even more than 10 hours. With the help of Dr. Lee, you only need to grit your teeth and apply a little force, and the baby will slide out automatically. It's a pity Rachel is not as happy as herself in a parallel universe. These thoughts flashed through his mind. Dr. Duncan. A nurse came in. Miss Green is now in your care. Help her take more walks, Adam ordered. This is to find one of the nurses for Alice Gray. It would be a waste if she is not used. Don't worry, the nurse assured. I have 7 children. I know how to take care of pregnant women. Okay. Adam grinned. I'll trouble you these days. Notify me immediately if there is anything. Adam was speechless about the situation in the United States where either you don't give birth or you only have one litter in your lifetime. Just look at Sheldon. He is the most annoyed by children and anyone else. But when he wants to have children, his small goal is 15. 3 basketball teams can take turns to play. Rachel, she is the nurse I hired. If you have anything, ask her to help you. Thank you, Adam. You are so thoughtful. Rachel was very grateful. Nothing, just by the way. Adam told her about Alice Gray. The tears in Rachel's eyes disappeared instantly. Adam wanted this effect. Otherwise, He was afraid that Rachel would ask him to induce labor. At night, the child's father, the child's aunt, the child's uncle, and the child's aunt all came. "How is it? Is there any movement?" everyone asked with concern. "No, not at all." Rachel was very upset. "Don't worry," Ross was about to comfort her, but was interrupted. "You are not in a hurry," Rachel said. "It's not you who gave birth. I think I'm a seahorse." Ross felt wronged. Seeing that no one understood this obscure joke, he had to explain. "Seahorse fathers are responsible for laying eggs and raising offspring." "Haha, so funny," Rachel sneered. "If you really want to help," Adam said, "a way that can still use you, just say whether you will help or not." "Anything, as long as I can do it," Ross shouted hurriedly. Rachel, who had been bulging in the later period, was so tough that she directly said the method Adam told her in public. "What?" Ross was immediately embarrassed. "This is not possible. Is this something you can't do?" Rachel sneered and looked down. "No," Ross said embarrassedly, "this is not possible. We all agreed. This is your fault. You have to be responsible for finishing it." Rachel shouted, "If you can't do it, you have to find me someone who can. I don't want to wait any longer. I want to have a baby now." "Monica." Ross could only ask for help from his sister. "Don't look at me." Monica raised her hand to stop him. "I am the same as Rachel now. I want to have a baby but I can't." "I understand Rachel very well, so I will definitely stand on Rachel's side." "Phoebe." Ross looked at the last woman again. "Call me." Phoebe pointed at herself, tilted her head and smiled. "Okay, I'll help you." "Thank you." Ross put his hands together and thanked sincerely. "You're welcome." Phoebe smiled, then looked at Ross seriously. "I think Rachel is right. Why don't you help her?" "Yes," Chandler and Joey echoed. "Why?" Ross saw that no one helped him, and he wanted to cry but had no tears. "What's going on?" Adam came over at this time and smiled. Ross grabbed Adam and said aggrievedly, "Adam, you have to help me." "I have no objection," Rachel said, "as long as you can convince Adam. I will consider you to have completed the task beyond your expectations." Ross turned around suddenly, looked at the serious and expectant Rachel, and showed the most classic Ross-style denial. "No." Chapter 517, Arranged Marriage Medical Center, VIP Delivery Room. "Okay, stop joking," Adam said with a smile. "Rose, you stay tonight. It's settled. Don't rush to refuse. If we can't convince you, then we can only ask Emma's grandfather to come out. His scalpel has been thirsty for a long time." Ross was speechless immediately. He had experienced Leonard's temper. At this time, a nurse pushed a pregnant woman past the door. OMG! The pregnant woman saw the backs of everyone and immediately stopped, waving her hands, and the classic cry rang out. Everyone was shocked. OMG, no way! Chandler showed an expression of disbelief. "Don't be," Joey prayed. The others also had wonderful expressions. "Ha ha 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 ha." A burst of weird laughter came, completely shattering the last glimmer of hope for everyone. Everyone turned around. Sure enough, they saw that familiar figure, sitting in a wheelchair, clapping his hands, smiling, and emitting familiar weird laughter. Who else could it be but Chandler's ex-girlfriend Janice? "Oh my god, it's true." Chandler shook his head violently. "Chandler Labentilda." Janice motioned to the nurse to push her in, and greeted her ex-boyfriend who had been entangled with her for many years enthusiastically in her unique and weird accent. "Janice." Chandler could only respond with a wry smile. "Not only Janice, but also Janice who is about to give birth," Joey wailed. OMG. Ross remembered the natural birth video he had watched before, and put himself in Janice's shoes, and couldn't accept it at all. Janice who is still going to accept the pain of labor. "Janice, don't tell me, you live next door, right?" Rachel said worriedly. "You have to ask the nurse." Janice ignored the reluctance in Rachel's words, and took it all as the enthusiasm of a friend. Seeing the nurse nod, she laughed even more happily. "Great, it's true. If you ask me, we might as well live together. Ha 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 ha." "No need." Rachel slapped her forehead. "This wall is useless." As she said, she looked at Adam pitifully. Adam gave a calming look. "Janice, I didn't even know you were pregnant." Chandler touched his face to adjust his mood and expression, and walked over to greet. "Whose essence did you steal?" Later, He couldn't help but sneer. Janice and him, they are really old lovers. They have been entangled for several years. At that time, Chandler was still a big boy who had not gotten out of the psychological shadow and was afraid of commitment. He really hurt Janice many times, but everyone still stood on Chandler's side. Not for anything else. It was really that everyone couldn't stand Janice's weird laughter that came at any time. They broke up several times and got back together several times. She and Chandler are still very predestined. If it weren't for Monica, they might really be together in the future. Of course, the possibility is very small. After all, after being hurt by Chandler several times, she married someone else, and then divorced soon. And since then she has become an old driver who likes to collect stamps. She and Ross also had a relationship, and her attitude towards this is 2/4. This is the completion of the strategy. Chandler, Ross, Joey, Adam. She has conquered 2/4 of them. From this perspective, Ross was more romantic than Joey at that time. He said he was annoyed, but his body was honest. Joey, who should have been the first to be conquered, was the most annoyed by Janice. He said what he thought and didn't give her any chance. It's you. Janice knew Chandler very well, so she naturally heard his usual sarcasm. So she pointed at Chandler and said seriously, "This is your child." What? Chandler's face changed, and he immediately turned back to look at Monica. "It's not me. I think it's you." Monica rolled her eyes calmly. Adam smiled knowingly. Ever since Adam designed them to come here for an examination, they have started the crazy mode of making babies. But it has been almost 2 months of driving dangerously, and there has been no movement at all. How could Monica not worry? Although she said this to complain, she did have some thoughts. If it is true, Janice can do it, so can she. What? Chandler's face changed again and again. Ha 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 ha. Janice had no idea what was going on. She pointed at Chandler and laughed strangely. "Look how nervous he is. We haven't had anything indescribable for several years." Ha ha ha. Ha ha. That's hilarious. Chandler complained unhappily. "Does it hurt to give birth? Does it hurt?" He had an expression that said, "I'll make you laugh, but it'll hurt you to death." "It's okay. Giving birth is easy for me." Janice waved her hand and said, "My pelvis is very wide." She threw a coquettish look at Chandler and tilted her head, acting shy. "You still remember?" Chandler hee ha ha ha. He looked like you know how to say something but not say it. Adam almost laughed out loud when he heard this. This expression, this tone, this line, amazing. Chandler and Monica both had rich expressions. They opened their mouths wide and were unable to complain. Ross and Rachel both had a headache. Joey looked at Chandler with sympathy. Phoebe laughed out loud. Ha ha ha. Janice became happier and happier as she spoke. "We are really destined to be together. Maybe we should get married at birth." Ha ha ha. "Put your legs together quickly. Don't let the baby hear." Ross leaned close to Rachel and whispered, then looked at Janice with disgust. "What?" Adam teased. "Are both of them yours?" Swish. After everyone was stunned, they all looked at Ross. That's right. Compared to Chandler, who is already married, Ross, who has always been unwilling to get married, seems to have more time to commit crimes and reasons to resolutely refuse. After all, both pregnant women had a relationship with him. "It's not me." Ross was stunned. Then his face turned red, and he yelled in the classic Ross roar. "Are you sure?" Adam continued to tease him. "It seems that when Rachel was pregnant last time, you were also confused and didn't know it was yours." Ross was speechless. At that time, he and Rachel were together every day, and they were old lovers. It was normal for them to have sex accidentally. So when Rachel got pregnant, he didn't think about him being their father at all. Because of this, there was a farce about who took the initiative. Fortunately, he recorded it at the time. Otherwise, this would be something that Rachel would have to talk about for the rest of her life. Thinking of this, he was also a little confused. He quickly searched his brains and began to recall whether he had sex with Janice 10 months ago. Unfortunately, he was just an ordinary person and didn't have Adam's high-definition image memory. It was so long ago that he couldn't remember clearly at the moment. "Oh, come on." When Rachel saw the expression of her child's father, she immediately got angry. "You would rather choose Janice than help me." "I didn't." Ross felt very wronged, but he didn't dare to shout loudly, because he really couldn't be sure at this moment. Ha ha ha. Janice looked at this scene and laughed weirdly again. Don't worry, if it was yours, why would I mention an arranged marriage? Huh. Ross let out a long sigh and wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Thank you, Emma. Don't inherit my nose, and don't inherit your father's IQ. Rachel touched her belly and sighed. He can't tell what is true and what is a joke. I don't know how he got into Columbia University back then. Ross. Chapter 518. I'm going crazy. Medical center. Everyone laughed for a while. Beep, beep. The pager on Adam's waist rang. You guys chat. Adam said hello to everyone and hurried to the emergency room. Dr. Duncan, the most knowledgeable nurse, waved at Adam. In clinic number 6. There is a very interesting case. I guarantee you have never seen it. Thanks, Violet. Adam thanked the nurse, took the case registration book from the nurse, and took a look. A woman with a foreign object stuck in her body? It's not what I thought, right? Hee. Yes. The most knowledgeable nurse laughed. But it's more bizarre than you thought. Let's go and take a look. Adam was immediately excited. Doctors, you have to watch, learn and practice more. The more bizarre, the more you can learn. Clinic number 6. Hiss. Adam pushed the door open and took a look, and took a breath of cold air in his heart. Sure enough, he had never seen it before. He could not imagine it. In his field of vision, there was a man and a woman in their 50s looking at each other face to face. The bald man was lying naked on the bed. The woman supported herself with her hands and straddled it. The nurse had considerately covered them with a sheet. Don't move. It will hurt if you move. Don't press on my injured knee. Sorry, I thought it was the left knee. We've been married for 19 years. You should know. The two were bickering. It seems that her husband is the foreign body. Adam smiled at the most understanding nurse. Ex-husband. The plump woman and the bald man shouted in unison. It's even more interesting. I'm Dr. Duncan. Adam introduced himself, walked forward and lifted a corner of the sheet, and began to observe. Why did you get a piercing? Sanya. Why? Do you think they won't know? They are doctors. This is embarrassing. Is it embarrassing? The real embarrassment is that you have an appointment with your husband for dinner, and now you are stuck with your ex-husband like this. The ex-husband and ex-wife started arguing again. Doctor, how long will this last? I really don't want my husband to know. The plump woman looked at Adam. Please, can you create a miracle? This may be a miracle. God is using this method to tell your current husband that you are already Hulunbuur Prairie. Adam complained in his heart, but said calmly, we need to see what is stuck in the ring first. Mr. Morse has the ring. What about you? Me? The plump woman immediately straightened up subconsciously and shouted, no. The bald man screamed immediately. I'm sorry. The plump woman quickly bent her body again, apologized to her ex-husband, and then looked at Adam. We sell real estate. And so does he. We have been divorced for 5 years, but because of work, we often contact each other, so sometimes we are together. I am so stupid and weak, I will never do it again. Yeah. Adam smiled without comment. This was just said to fool others and fool himself, unless they can no longer contact each other. Otherwise, it is always the difference between 0 and countless times. Just look at Ross and Rachel. If they hang out together every day, something will happen sooner or later. Do you have an intrauterine device? Adam asked. Yes. The plump woman was stunned. You mean, we need to take an X-ray of you first? Adam said, but if I'm not mistaken, it should be that your intrauterine device fell off and hooked your ex-husband's piercing. After all, if you don't have a piercing or something, there is nothing else that would cause this situation. Oh, by the way, you can cancel the dinner with your husband now. This will take some time. It's not early now. Damn it. The plump woman heard this and cursed irritably. Why do you have nothing to do with this piercing? Hey, that's not what you said before. The bald man was dissatisfied and retorted, you said you like it very much. Adam and the most understanding little nurse looked at each other and smiled knowingly. The bald man is so old, but he still plays like a young man. He can only rely on some auxiliary means. But if you dare to do this, you really need enough courage. This is not the exoskeleton armor that can be discarded and replaced at any time in the island countries. It is an implanted armor like Robocop, which is already a part of the body. If it is not good, There is also the risk of infection. After a long time, the urine will have to be diverted. Although he is not a eunuch, he also has some embarrassing things of eunuchs. For example, he has to spray perfume every day to cover up his stench. Even more serious is that he can no longer have children. However, considering the age and status of the bald man, this is not a problem. After all, at this age, his ex-wife has an id, and she must have children. And Westerners basically spray perfume every day. "I do this for you," the bald man cried aggrievedly. "Hey, listen, you have to stop doing anything for me." The plump woman sighed and said softly, "I am with Tom now, and I love Tom." Adam listened. His mouth twitched, and he tilted his head to avoid the patient from seeing his unprofessional expression. What a deep love. If there is no such picture, just listening to the plump woman talking, most people will agree with her, full of emotions, convincing. Sure enough, hearing is not believing, seeing is believing. Maybe, many times, the plump woman is fighting with her ex-husband to snatch the house that someone else is selling, while chatting on the phone with her beloved husband, talking about how much she loves him. The art drama of San Fernando Valley really seems to be based on life. This is magical realism. I still can't believe that you left me for that guy. The bald man seemed to be a pitiful person, and he didn't think he was taking advantage. He said indignantly, "What does he have that I don't?" "He doesn't have piercings," the plump woman complained. "He doesn't need piercings either." The bald man was hit by a soul attack, and he couldn't help but move, and then screamed, "Okay, both of you, stop moving. We need to take an X-ray." Adam had to interrupt. Then he pushed them to the X-ray room. This look attracted everyone's attention along the way. OMG, Christina and the others heard the news and rushed over to watch. "Adam, I'll help you," Christina volunteered. "This is gynecology. Adam, you should consult a gynecologist. I want to join." "This is Liz." More people, more helpers. Meredith was also very active. "Okay." Adam originally only wanted to take Christina with him, but now he needs Liz. It's hard to refuse, so he just took them all with him. Anyway, he is the leader. No matter how many of them there are, they are just helping out according to Adam's instructions. X-ray room. "We have been married for 19 years, and we quarrel every day. The only time we don't quarrel is when we goblins fight." The plump woman saw the bald man turned his head away with a painful look on his face, and she felt a little soft-hearted and said softly, "That's not true." The bald man said sadly, "I still love you." "Okay, I'm going to hell." The plump woman had obviously heard enough of this, and rolled her eyes when she heard it, not wanting to care about her ex-husband who had confessed to her countless times. "You two, don't move, so we can take a clear picture," Adam reminded. "Mom, Dad?" At this time, a young girl pushed the door open and walked in. Seeing this bizarre scene, her eyes immediately widened and her voice was full of anger. "Just now doesn't count. Now is hell." The plump woman closed her eyes weakly. Just when Adam and the others thought the girl would get mad, the young girl turned sideways, not looking at her strange parents, and she did start to get mad. "How could you do this? I'm going blind. You must pay for my mental treatment, my rent, and my new car." Everyone. Chapter 519. Too exciting. Medical center. X-ray room. The filial daughter went crazy. The strangeness was very similar to that of Ning Wang and Flirting Scholar. It was totally unexpected. "Of course, dear," the bald man lying there said with a face full of shame and doting. "Haha, just continue to dote on her." The plump woman looked at her ex-husband with contempt, and then said to the filial daughter with a happy face, "You are old enough to understand that your parents also have needs and make mistakes. You also call this making a mistake?" When the filial daughter heard that her mother wanted to shirk her debt, she immediately fought back. "In my opinion, this is called a bitch." "Hey, I'm your mother. You can't talk to your mother like that," the plump woman said angrily. If it was Sheldon's mother Mary, saying this would immediately make Sheldon bow his head and surrender, and reflexively shout out, "Yes, ma'am." But unfortunately, this is a real filial daughter. What a good role model. The filial daughter, who was also struggling for her new car, rent and daily expenses, sneered, "Look at you, being with your ex-husband and being unfaithful to him. My God. I wonder if your husband will think this is just a mistake when he sees this. The plump woman was immediately speechless. It's not that she had nothing to say, it's that she heard the hidden threat in her filial daughter's words. Her ex-husband did not remarry and had no psychological burden, but she had a happy family and her beloved husband Tom. It was not wise to risk losing all this just for a few words with the filial daughter. She sells real estate. As long as she doesn't run into a colleague who knows her inside out and tries to compete with her in this way, she can bend and stretch. And you, Dad, the filial daughter was very proud of herself when she saw her mother, who was so powerful, retreat for the first time. She rolled her eyes and looked at her father again. What are you doing? I thought you finally had your own life. Last time you were dating someone, I didn't buy you the LV bag I wanted the most to support you. Is this how you repay my support for you? I'm sorry, dear. The bald man was ashamed. I knew I was sorry. The filial daughter chased after her. If I had known you would do this, I wouldn't have given up my LV bag. Dad will buy it for you. The bald man heard the word LV bag twice in a row and realized that his precious daughter had raised the price again. But in this situation, he had nothing else to say except buying, buying, buying. Adam saw a smug smile flash across the corner of the filial daughter's mouth. You too. The X-rays have been taken. Adam took the freshly baked X-rays and came to the loving ex-husband and ex-wife, pointing to the two rings stuck together on it and said, the result is the same as I guessed. Your intrauterine device fell off, hooked your husband's piercing ring, and embedded in the wall of your birth canal. You said the piercing ring? Dizion looked at her father who was already in his 50s in surprise. It's complicated, dear. The bald man turned his head away in shame. It must be all because of you. Dizion looked at her mother angrily. If Dad didn't want to please you, how could he take such a big risk to do such a thing? Now, are you satisfied? Adam and others looked at each other and could see how fake this anger was. Tell me, what do you want? The plump woman sneered. Dizion paused. This is what she disliked most about her mother. If it were her father, even if he knew what she was doing, he would willingly cooperate with her, unlike her mother, who only knew to oppose her. But even though she knew, she couldn't bear to give up such a good excuse to ask for something. It's not what I want. The filial daughter forced herself to ignore the strange looks of the crowd and said righteously, you should give my father some compensation. How about this? You replace the seats of my new car with heated seats. Now the weather is cold, and my father will be more comfortable when I pick him up in the future. Adam and others were secretly impressed after hearing this. This is shameless. Rajesh, the originator of Versailles in the Big Bang Theory, called this request inexpert. His father bought him a BMW, which was fine, but he wanted to add a heated seat, so his father asked him to spend his own money. Damn old man, if he is forced, he will really buy it with his own money. Enough. The plump woman straightened up with anger when she heard it. Ah! The bald man screamed. Don't move. Adam didn't care to listen to such lively gossip, and stepped forward to support the plump woman, saying, we are going to help you unhook now. You must not move. Understand? The plump woman and the bald man nodded. Christina, you go look at the computer screen and help me adjust the angle. Liz, Meredith, each of you press one of Mr. Morse's legs and wait for my order. Madam, I will hold you and rotate you later. Don't be nervous. Adam ordered one by one. Christina went to the computer, looked at the two rings stuck together on the computer screen, and then looked at the real person, compared it in her mind, and prepared to remind Adam how to reverse out of the garage. Liz and Meredith each pressed a thigh. Liz, you lift the patient's thigh to 20 degrees. Adam simulated it in his mind and ordered. 20 degrees? Do you have to be very precise? Liz tried to move the bald man's thigh. Ah! The bald man and the plump woman both cried out in pain. Keep this speed. Stop when I tell you to. Adam calculated the angle of Liz's leg lift accurately. Okay, stop. Keep this action and don't move. As he spoke, Adam held the plump woman's body with his hands and slowly rotated counterclockwise. Christina in front of the computer screen saw the two rings slowly begin to unhook. It's almost there. I know. The 3D graphics in Adam's mind were clearer than the computer. OMG, Sanya. OMG, Adam. Not now. The action was so big that the bald man and the plump woman were a little overwhelmed. The plump woman was too familiar with this man who had been married to her for 19 years and had secretly fought with her for 5 years, so she quickly stopped him, fearing that something even more hellish would happen in front of everyone. You know, her filial daughter was right next to her. It was one thing to be able to understand it, but it was another thing to perform it on the spot. However, when these words came out, Liz and the others were even more overwhelmed and laughed out loud. PFFT, what are you doing? The filial daughter finally showed her true filial piety. Seeing this, she became furious. My parents are in so much pain, and you are still laughing. Sorry, we are not laughing at this. Liz apologized quickly, pointing at Adam who was holding the plump woman and spinning counterclockwise. I just didn't expect Mr. Morse to be called Adam. Yes, he is also called Adam, and your parents are not in pain either. Adam's mouth twitched. Dr. Stevenson, keep your posture still and don't talk. Yes, Liz agreed quickly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 520 Convinced Medical Center, X-ray Room. Everyone staged a funny scene. Adam held the plump woman and slowly turned counterclockwise. He knew what Liz and the others were laughing at, and he felt offended. The bald man was also called Adam, thinking of his bald father Bob. This was an offense. The plump woman shouted this name in this tone at this moment. In the eyes of Liz, who didn't know the truth, it was indeed ambiguous, because Liz and the others could easily think of a classic romantic love movie famous for its upside-down posture. When the female lead shouted their most familiar name, and the owner of this name was indeed there, holding the female lead and spinning, this was the second offense. Fortunately, Adam was a professional. He didn't care about these things, and his movements were still steady enough. Soon, Christina stared at the computer and reminded, 3, 2, 1, unhook. Oh, Sanya. The bald man smiled absent-mindedly. Beep beep, beep beep. At this time, the alarm sounded on the monitor. Blue alert. He has a heart attack. Aortic tear. Notify the operating room immediately. We'll be there right away. We have to do the surgery right away, or he'll die. Call Dr. Burke. Dr. Burke is doing the surgery. Call Dr. Green. Adam gave the bald man CPR while directing, Liz, Meredith, you stay here and take this lady to Dr. Montgomery to deal with the dislodged intrauterine device. Christina, come with me to the operating room. Okay. Christina was excited. Heart surgery was her favorite. Everyone, let's go. Adam sat astride the gurney and gave the bald man who was too excited CPR, and asked everyone to push the gurney to the operating room. Operating room number 2, Dr. Green. Christina looked at Leonard flatteringly. Dr. Yang. Leonard glanced at Adam, who was standing in the main surgery position, and smiled. I have something else to do later, so I can't complete the surgery. You can be the first assistant this time. Thank you, Dr. Green. Christina was overjoyed. Leonard smiled and stood in the position of the second assistant. He understood and appreciated Adam's approach. Every excellent doctor must have an excellent team, and every chief doctor must have several trusted excellent doctors under him. For example, Dr. Burke, Dr. Shept, Dr. Montgomery, and Richard, the chief surgeon. Christina's excellence is well known to everyone. If it weren't for Adam's brilliance, Christina would probably be the top among interns at this moment. Such an excellent doctor, if trained well in the future, will definitely be the right-hand man. Of course, under normal circumstances, such a doctor will not be inferior to his peers. Just like the legend Alice Gray, she couldn't let the extremely excellent Richard surrender with peace of mind. Only like Richard, the chief surgeon, and Dr. Burke, who are a generation apart and used to be teachers and students, can get along better. Because there is such a big age difference, the subordinates have the opportunity to wait for the boss to retire and take over. But if you can be as exaggerated as Adam, you can suppress your colleagues and convince them during the intern stage, and cultivate confidence early. In fact, there is no problem at all. After all, The limit of an excellent doctor is to be the director of a small surgical department under the general surgery department. The limit of an even better doctor is to be the director of the general surgery department. At that time, Adam can definitely become the director of the hospital, which director does not have a few trusted directors of major departments. If not, then he can't do anything. Either he is unable to work because of the contradictions of his subordinates, or he is easily interfered with by the board of directors. Only with the support of trusted people in important positions can one pressure the lower-level doctors downward, enforce orders, and resist the orders of the board of directors upward, and truly control a hospital and hold power. In Good Doctors, the director ignored the opposition of most people and supported Murphy, who had obvious problems. This was not, as he said in his impassioned speech, that he wanted to give people with problems a little hope and set an example. His people asked him directly in private, "Is this the person you chose?" As long as Adam's growth rate is fast and stable enough, even if his peers are excellent like Christina, there is enough room for advancement. It is no problem to take him as a confidant. Leonard is naturally very satisfied with Adam, who is so ambitious and visionary, and he is happy to see it happen. Scalpel number 10. Adam ignored all this and stretched out his hand to start the operation. The operation was carried out in an orderly manner. The chat began. "The ex-husband and ex-wife are stuck together, huh?" Leonard also knew the strange scene at this time, and his face looked a little ugly. "Since they are divorced, why are they still hanging out together every day? Is there only work in that area?" Obviously, he thought of his precious eldest daughter, who was first married to that bastard Ross inexplicably, and then divorced inexplicably. Then because they were hanging out together every day, she is now pregnant. His first granddaughter is about to be born, but it is an illegitimate child. After this, I believe they will learn a lesson. Adam smiled and said, "Maybe they will remarry." Humphrey. Leonard snorted coldly. "Who wants to remarry him?" Adam smiled and did not respond. Why? He showed this intention? Leonard was just being stubborn. And when he saw Adam didn't respond, he couldn't help it. "No." Adam smiled while performing the operation, "but I guess he will have a completely different feeling after I tell him the story of Mr. Morse." After all, his ex-wife Emily, who married for the second time, has told us with bloody facts that he will not leave the circle of friends and Rachel for his wife. In this case, even if he and Rachel have started their own families, they will inevitably encounter Mr. Morse's behavior when they hang out together every day. At that time, it will be Emma who will see this scene. "He dares." Leonard exploded when he heard it. "He dares not." Adam smiled. "Plus, Rachel needs to induce labor. Maybe he will propose tonight. Who knows? Wait until the operation is over, and tell that bastard this story immediately." Leonard said, "There is still time now, as long as he proposes before Emma is born, gets married immediately, and doesn't let Emma be born as an illegitimate child, then I will forgive him. You can try to propose, but the marriage time is too short, isn't it?" Adam hesitated. "What's the short answer?" Leonard glared. "They were already married in Las Vegas, and now they are remarrying. They can just go through a proposal ceremony and register at the city hall. Isn't that enough? The grand wedding ceremony is a matter for the future, and I don't think it matters whether there is one or not." "That makes sense." Adam laughed dumbly. "When the time comes, I'll ask the city hall staff to come over and do an expedited service for them." Okay. Leonard cheered with satisfaction. The assistant Christina was convinced. P.S. Thanks to Dezu and Shang Wang Joey Frank for the reward. Chapter 521. Is it considered cheating to lie for a lifetime? Medical Center. 2. Christina, have you ever performed continuous diagonal sutures on the heart? Adam and Leonard were talking and laughing. He saw Christina looking at him eagerly. The mask covered her face, revealing only her small single eyelid eyes full of desire. He laughed in his heart and said, "No." Christina shook her head. "Do you have the confidence to try it?" Adam asked. "Yes." Christina's voice was full of confidence and joy. "Dr. Green?" Adam looked at Leonard. "You are the chief surgeon. You have the final say." Leonard smiled. "Christina, come on." Adam gestured. The rescue time involving the life and death of the bald man has passed. and the life points that should be taken have basically been obtained. Adam has performed this continuous diagonal suture on the heart many times. The rest is just a repetition of his hands. And with his control over his body and brain, he has already reached the highest level of hands after a few times. Occasionally giving up such an opportunity to win people's hearts and cultivate confidence is also a very worthwhile business. Thank you. Christina was overjoyed. She walked from her position as the first assistant to Adam's side. Under Adam's guidance, she took the suturing instrument and took a deep breath. Hold it well. Make sure it is stable. Don't use too much force. Very good. Adam stood by and gave instructions. Christina was indeed the best person under Adam. Although she could not reach Adam's level of beauty injections, her basic skills were also very solid. This was also the prerequisite for Adam to give up this opportunity. If it were Liz, Meredith, or George, they would not even think about it. The observation room on the second floor was in chaos at this moment. Oh, God. Christina is actually doing continuous diagonal sutures on the heart. Did she sleep with Adam? Damn it. She gets both benefits and happiness. Impossible. How could Dr. Duncan be interested in her? I don't believe it. Then how do you explain why he gave her this opportunity? Do you believe there was no deal? They are good friends. Maybe Dr. Duncan wants to promote his friend? Come on. Have you ever seen an intern use this kind of surgery to promote another intern? His competitor? Dr. Duncan is not an ordinary intern. Otherwise he would not have the opportunity to give up this opportunity. Haven't you noticed that Dr. Duncan now basically enters the operating room as the chief surgeon? Anyway, I don't believe it. There must be a shameful deal between them. Everyone talked about it, and most people suspected that Christina and Adam had made some deal. Adam naturally didn't know, but even if he knew, he wouldn't care. The truth of the matter will always be revealed by someone who knows him best, such as the little nurse, and then the gossip will be quickly suppressed and become a consensus in the hospital. At that time, everyone will say, Dr. Duncan is really a man of high moral character. I really want to work with Dr. Duncan. Then, Christina, who was originally just happy that she had gotten something for free, had to publicly acknowledge this great favor. Do it a few more times. A simple mentality of getting something for free will face huge public opinion pressure and psychological pressure. Dr. Duncan is so good to you. How can you oppose him and compete with him? Adam is really good to me. He has made such rapid progress. It's not bad to work with him. Jushiran, who I haven't seen for a long time, said, any problem is a problem of mentality. As long as the mentality is right, the problem will be easily solved. After the continuous diagonal suture of the heart was completed, Adam took over the operation again, regardless of Christina's reluctance. Benefits should be given little by little, not all at once, otherwise the other party will not know how to cherish it. It's like eating delicious food. If you eat too much, everything will be uncomfortable. The state of not being satisfied is the best. The operation went smoothly. After the end, Adam and Christina went to meet the bald man's ex-wife and daughter. How is my dad? The filial daughter still had some conscience, and hurried over. The operation was successful. The next 24 to 48 hours are critical. As long as there are no accidents, your dad will be fine, Adam said. Thank you, Dr. Duncan. The filial daughter was very moved. While talking, she rushed over and hugged Adam's waist tightly. Jenny. After a while, the plump woman saw that her daughter had no intention of letting go. The young and handsome doctor looked a little helpless. His face suddenly fell, and he shouted in a deep voice, "What are you doing?" The filial daughter let go of Adam and looked at her mother with dissatisfaction. "Is it not okay for me to be happy for my father's successful operation? Can't you see us happy? Enough. I'm your mother. I don't allow you to talk to me like this." The plump woman was completely furious. What else? The filial daughter felt that she had mastered her mother's handle, and now she was not afraid of her mother at all, and her eyes were full of provocation. "Your rent, your car, and your daily expenses are all paid by your own part-time jobs. If you want us to give you money, forget it," the plump woman sneered. "No," the filial daughter immediately exploded. "This is the mental treatment fee you must pay me." "What else?" The plump woman repeated what her daughter had just said. "You." The filial daughter was furious. "You want to threaten me?" The plump woman sneered. "I'll tell you, I will confess this to Tom when I go back. What? The filial daughter was completely stunned. Impossible. Just watch carefully, the plump woman said coldly. When it happened for the first time, I felt very guilty, but I didn't plan to tell Tom, because I thought it would not happen again. But it happened again, and at a certain point, I suddenly didn't feel guilty anymore. Now this happened, and your reminder, it woke me up. I can't go on like this. The truth will always be revealed. Instead of letting my beloved Tom hear the news from others, I'd rather tell him myself, because I love him. Adam and Christina looked at each other, and were shocked by the plump woman's declaration of love. I've never seen anything like this in my life. It can be like this. The filial daughter was also stunned. For a while, seeing that her mother didn't seem to be joking, the filial daughter got anxious. No, Mom, I was wrong. I won't tell Uncle Tom. I don't want the heated seats. Is that okay? I don't want the LV bag either. Don't be angry. I don't want the mental treatment fee either. I just want you to help me pay the rent and buy me a new car. Let's discuss it again. I don't want you to pay. As long as you don't stop Dad from paying. Still not okay? I'm your biological daughter. Adam shook his head. The old ones are still the best. The filial daughter originally wanted to seize the handle to blackmail her mother, but was fooled around by the ruthless mother. The plump woman might have really wanted to confess so as not to be threatened by the filial daughter, but now seeing that her own filial daughter was so incompetent and she could completely control it, the idea of confessing to her husband faded. After all, this kind of hi-hat of the Hulunbu or grassland, even if it is true love, it is not worn properly if it is forced. Now there is a better choice. Keep hiding it, as long as she keeps it a secret until her beloved husband Tom is buried. Is lying for a lifetime still considered lying? She loved him deeply and promised him a lifetime of happiness. P.S. Thanks to Batman Joker, book friend 1611060524078990, Fujian, and Simple but Not Simple do for their rewards. Chapter 522 Don't Move the Fetus. Medical Center. Sonia, just as Adam and Christina were watching the ruthless mother beat the noob and the filial daughter, and caught a glimpse of the flash of smile in the ruthless mother's eyes, an anxious male voice sounded, "Tom." The ruthless mother's face froze instantly. Adam looked in the direction of the voice. He saw a thin man in his 50s with an astonishing amount of hair, anxiously walking towards the plump woman. From the name, it was obviously Tom, who was deeply loved by the plump woman and envied by the bald man. "Sonia, thank God. Are you okay?" Tom looked up and down at his beloved wife. "I'm fine." The plump woman forced a smile and said, "Tom, why are you here?" She clearly remembered calling her husband, and used the multi-line operation that she was always best at to comfort her husband, who was disappointed because she broke the appointment. "I remembered something and called you." The phone rang for a long time and was answered by a nurse in the hospital. "Then I knew you were in the hospital," Tom explained. "Why didn't you tell me?" "What's wrong with you?" "Hey, Jenny, you're here too." The plump woman cursed in her heart. This must have happened when she was doing surgery. "Hi, Uncle Tom." The filial daughter greeted him with a smile. Although she was stunned by her mother before, she suddenly realized that it was her mother who should be anxious. Adam didn't watch the following greetings and dog food, but according to the nurse's gossip afterwards, at first, the plump woman tried to cover it up. But such a bizarre and sensational case was the absolute headline tonight and was discussed everywhere. When Tom went to the toilet, he heard people talking about it. After a while, he finally realized that the heroine was his beloved wife. Honest people also have tempers. The understanding and forgiveness that the plump woman expected were all jokes. He slapped her in the face. The traditional skills of American men were instantly mastered. They were beaten up. Finally, the security guards were alerted and they were taken out. Adam came to find Ross, Monica and the others had already gone back. Ross was the only one left, outside the VIP ward. Mrs. Geller. When Adam came over, he saw Ross's mother and Ross standing in the corridor talking. "Oh, Adam." Mrs. Geller hugged Adam warmly, exchanged a few pleasantries, winked at Ross, and left. "Adam, you can't guess what my mother gave me," Ross said in an unbelievable tone. "What?" Adam smiled. "It can't be an heirloom ring. Asking you to propose, right?" "How do you know?" Ross was stunned. "Come on," Adam complained. "What's so difficult about this? Who of the older generation wants to see their grandchildren as illegitimate children? Not to mention that you and Rachel are a good match. Now is the last chance." "OMG." Ross's eyes widened. "You are exactly like my mother." "What's your decision?" Adam smiled. "No, Rachel and I agreed that we can't get married just because of the child." Ross shook his head. "Then why did you have a child?" Adam sneered. "You can't blame me for that." Ross got angry when he said this. "That's the responsibility of the safety measures vendor. They didn't print the signs that were not 100% effective big enough." "Come with me." Adam saw that Ross was still obsessed, so he took him to the scene to watch the bald man, described it vividly, pointed out that the bald man now was him in the future, and left directly. His mission was completed, and the rest depended on Ross's conscience. Just conscience, because he didn't believe that Ross and Rachel were still in love. Late at night, Adam finished his daily Alice Gray's small meal and was about to go back when he was found by Ross. "Are you proposing?" Adam said calmly. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." Ross nodded seriously. "I want to give Emma a complete home." "Very good." Adam patted Ross with satisfaction and smiled. "I'll help you call people." At this moment, everyone should be present. Not for Rachel, but for Emma. Very real. "Do you think Rachel will agree?" Ross was worried. "Don't worry, she will definitely agree," Adam said confidently. "The premise is that you must be firm. Don't be forced back by a few words from her halfway through the request. Don't let Rachel feel that you are not sincere enough." "How is it possible?" Ross was about to deny it, but when he met Adam's eyes that said "I advise you to be honest," he swallowed his words again. He is also a proud person, or he is not as persistent in this proposal as he was in love with Rachel for many years. Or in other words, Rachel has depreciated countless times in his subconscious. If there are any twists and turns in the next proposal, he will probably get angry and give up directly. Adam had to give him a shot of prevention. Hold him back with words, pull out the ladder under his feet, and if he still wants to jump, he will throw him down and bleed. Monica and the others got the news and rushed over immediately. So, Rachel, who was anxious to find Ross to promote labor, saw this scene and guessed the general situation in her heart. When Ross knelt on one knee and began to propose, just like the emperors in ancient times who abdicated the throne voluntarily or passively, the next emperor always declined 3 times, pretending to save face. At first, Rachel naturally disagreed. It was nothing. She was not a fool. Ross was somewhat willing in her heart. As a woman with intuition, how could she not know about the man who knew her so well? Under the stares of Adam and others, Ross, who was a little frustrated and angry, could only suppress the rising anger and repeatedly requested. In the end, Rachel agreed. It was nothing. A newborn party exposed her ignorance of raising children. When her mother offered to help her take care of the baby, she was very reluctant at first. Young people don't want to live with their elders. But after using the breast pump as a baby beer machine, using the diaper wizard bucket for dirty diapers as a clean diaper bucket, and being educated that babies need to be changed 10 times a day, and throwing them into the trash can outside every time they are changed, it can be annoying, and that babies cannot be left alone there, etc. A series of the most basic parenting issues. She hugged her mother and said sincerely, "Mom, please don't leave me." The courage to be a single mother disappeared in an instant. Everything is easier said than done. This is just the beginning. How can it be easy to be a single mother? In this state, how could Rachel not want to reconcile with Ross, the father of her child? If she didn't want to, she would never take the initiative to ask Ross to help her to have a baby. When she really broke up with Ross, she didn't even allow Ross to fantasize about her. Now, after several unwillingness, she has already gained enough face. Seeing that Ross would retreat if he did it again, she certainly couldn't hold it in anymore. Wow, congratulations. Lovers finally get married. A group of friends applauded wildly. Ross and Rachel, of course, followed the old tradition of American TV series at this moment, and began to French kiss in public without paying attention to others. Her sister Monica and a group of friends watched with wide eyes, not feeling embarrassed at all. Ahem. Adam reminded, okay, the proposal was successful, but the registration will not be valid until tomorrow during the working hours of the city hall, so don't get upset, Ross. You can go back now. You are not needed here tonight. Ross, what's going on? He was unwilling before, but now he has successfully proposed, and now he can't wait to be a midwife, but he is not needed. Chapter 523, Outlaw at a Medical Center, VIP Delivery Room. Register? Rachel was a little confused. Tomorrow? Of course. Adam smiled and said, this is the last chance. If you don't register, Emma will be born as an illegitimate child. Leonard will probably talk to you when the time comes. Register. Rachel immediately had no objection. Is it too late? Monica worriedly said, the fastest place to register is Las Vegas. You can get it done once you go there. But Rachel can't go now. It's not just Las Vegas on the West Coast, Joey shouted. We also have Atlantic City in New Jersey on the East Coast. People like to go there to get married. It is 1998. Atlantic City, which is known as the two major gambling cities in the United States along with Las Vegas, is still in a prosperous period that is about to reach its peak. The scenery here is pleasant, with beautiful beaches and comfortable resorts. It is also close to New York, where rich people gather, and the gambling city has a wealth-gathering effect. Atlantic City is the first choice for many people on the East Coast to get married. That's not possible. Monica shook her head and said, according to New York state law, it will take at least 3 days, and Atlantic City is no exception. Maybe we can find a boat, sail to international public waters, and let the captain officiate for them, Chandler suggested. The United States is a maritime law system. On the sea, the captain's power is supreme, and naturally he has the right to officiate at the wedding of passengers at any time. I have a boat, I'm the captain. Joey immediately got excited and raised his hand and shouted, I can officiate for you. New York is close to the ocean, and it's very convenient to sail out to sea. This is feasible. Monica nodded. Don't think about it. Adam had to interrupt and said with a smile, it's not as troublesome as you think. Have you forgotten who I am? Don't. Joey was unwilling. The captain is a good way to officiate. Let's use this method. Oh? Adam said bluntly. How many people can your boat carry? Can everyone hug each other to officiate? Joey was speechless. This boat was bought when he and Rachel attended an auction when he was down and out. They raised their hands casually without any knowledge, thinking it was just a joke, but in the end they found out that raising hands at an auction was a legal responsibility, so they had to buy the sailboat in installments. It's not big, with so many people on board. It's really crowded. It's more lively if we squeeze in, Joey muttered unwillingly. Even if we can, Rachel's health should not leave the hospital. Adam ignored Joey. We can't go to Las Vegas or the sea. Monica was puzzled. Rachel could give birth at any time. Is there any way to register immediately? Judge. Adam smiled and gave the final answer. Judge? Everyone was confused. Under normal circumstances, the registration process in New York State takes at least 3 days. Adam pointed out the mystery, but in the United States, everything can be an exception. As long as we convince the judge, the waiting time can be omitted. Can it be like this? Everyone was ordinary people, and they felt it was magical when they heard it. Of course. Adam smiled and said, law is human. Even whether a crime is committed or not is up to the jury. For such a small matter, as long as the judge nods, it can be handled specially. Otherwise, those soldiers who are about to go overseas, if they want to get married, do they have to wait for the return of the god of war? Everyone suddenly realized, but I'm not a soldier who is about to go overseas? Ross's mind was a little confused. This is just an example, Adam said speechlessly. The key point is that as long as the judge agrees with your reasons, it's fine. Don't worry. You don't have to spend a lot of time to make up reasons. I will help you get it done. How to do it? Ross's mind was still a little confused. Everyone rolled their eyes. Please, Monica complained. Adam is so convincing. Which judge would not give him face? Haha, rich people have a lot of face. Phoebe pouted. Don't be jealous, Adam said with a smile. Make money well. This is just the beginning. As long as you have enough money, let alone just want to skip the waiting period and get a marriage certificate directly, even if you are a serial killer, There are countless ways to continue to get away with it in the United States. Impossible, Ross shouted. How is it possible? Not to mention other complicated operations. Adam looked at him. Just say the simplest way. Let the president pardon, okay? Ross was dumbfounded. Of course this method works. In the United States, the president has the right to pardon anyone. But the president will not do this. Ross was unwilling to accept this possibility. What do you know? Adam said playfully. Then do you know that every president will pardon many people? Listen carefully. It's a lot of people. Then, Adam reported the data. There is no record of a minority president who cares most about face in the future pardoning at least 200 people. The current records are at least hundreds of people, and thousands of people at any time. Since it is a pardon, of course, they are all problematic people. It is no exaggeration to say that they are criminals. In addition to a few relatives and friends. How did they come up with such a long list? Of course, there are conflicts of interest. For example, one day Adam committed a crime. Well, ordinary crimes are not enough. It must be a felony across state lines, that is, a federal crime. At that time, Adam will flee abroad first, the kind that cannot be extradited. Juno and others donated money to the president-elect, donating millions. In the future, when the president steps down, he has the right not to expire, and Adam will naturally appear on the president's pardon list. As soon as it is announced, Adam can fly back on a private plane that night. No matter how terrible the previous crime was, all sins are gone. Adam can start over again. It's so magical. This is the art of transaction that the West admires most. Rich people say it's good after using it. In Infernal Affairs, Liu Jianming, who wanted to be a good person but couldn't, in Adam's view, it was completely whining without illness. If he was really that good, and tried harder, and got a pardon from the queen, what would be so difficult about being a good person? Okay. At that time, the queen seemed to be useless. The criminal Liu Jianming wanted to be a good person without going to jail and atonement, but he had no chance to do so under the sunshine of true fairness and justice. This sigh was classic because it expressed the voices of many criminals in this context. The good days in the West where people did not pay for their lives and did not pay their debts were gone. No, everyone shouted in unison. In the United States, the privileged hierarchy system is deeply rooted in the hearts of the people, just like a British accent makes them feel particularly noble. They did know about this matter and subconsciously took it for granted. They didn't take it to heart and never thought there would be so many. When they thought about the possibility that there were super criminals like the serial killer mentioned by Adam, they could easily restore their innocence because of a pardon, and their three views exploded. And they were all not good. They didn't know if they didn't think about it. They were shocked when they thought about it. This is horrible. It is too cruel and unfriendly to the lower class people. Seeing that they were so innocent and ignorant, Adam coughed lightly and stopped talking. Let's not talk about this. Now it's Ross and Rachel's wedding. Don't worry. Leave it to me. As soon as I get to work tomorrow, I will ask the staff of the city hall to go to the hospital to handle special matters for you. Everyone nodded woodenly. Adam felt a little regretful and helpless when he saw this. This is just the beginning. You can't stand it? Oh, Ross is fine. He is now a university professor, living in the ivory tower of the university. It is normal to be ignorant and not know the sufferings of the world. But Phoebe, who has always lived at the bottom of the society, seems to have her three views refreshed, and feels unacceptable. Peas. Thank you Dazzy for the reward. Chapter 524, Just a Ball of Fat. Medical Center. Late at night, the proposal ceremony ended in a weird atmosphere. Everyone went their separate ways. Ross was driven away by Adam, because compared to the depression of others, he quickly adjusted himself with a simple psychological hint, either in school, in a museum, or in the ivory tower of the university. Fake, all fake. After adjusting, Ross, the groom-to-be, naturally had some bold ideas. Engagement night, single night, it would be unreasonable not to have some activities. He and Rachel didn't care whether Emma was an illegitimate daughter. They didn't care about the elders' ideas. Facing the bride-to-be holding hands and looking at each other with tears in their eyes, Adam broke up the couple and drove Ross out. Stop lip-syncing. I'll send someone to watch you tonight. Adam interrupted their fantasy. Damn it. Ross and Rachel cursed together. You all have a good rest. We are getting married tomorrow morning. Do you still want to welcome this moment in the best condition? Adam reminded. Ross is the ugliest groom. Rachel, do you want to compete for the title of the ugliest bride? No. Rachel immediately put away her bold idea. How can a momentary desire be compared with eternal beauty? Tomorrow is such an important moment, and you have to take pictures and even videos to keep it. Adam, but I haven't prepared anything. Rachel reached out and touched herself from head to toe, and said worriedly, just wear this to get married? These are all trivial matters. Adam waved his hand and said, what you have to do is to have a good rest and keep your spirits. I will help you with the rest. Everyone has an account in their hearts. Owing favors to others is a burden for most people. Well, Leonard's favor can be repaid a little bit. Adam made a yes gesture in his heart. Thank you. Rachel thanked her and showed an expectant look. After sending Ross away, Adam called his assistant Ada and told her his requirements and asked her to start overnight. You should have the photo. We all took a photo together at Chandler and Monica's wedding last time. You can take her photo and go choose a wedding dress overnight. It has to be high-end. The groom? He doesn't need it. He's been married several times and has plenty of dresses. You need to help the bride. She's pregnant now and her size is. What are you thinking? The child is not mine. Why are you so precise? Is this your first day working with me? Do I have to have close contact to determine the exact size data? Your size is. No? That's your own mistake. When you go to choose a wedding dress later, let them measure you and see if you are right or I am right. If I am wrong, I will give you an extra month's bonus. Am I doomed to lose? What I saw was all an illusion. Did you use the gathering artifact? Haha. Do you want to take a gamble? Just bet your 3 months' salary. You're going to take a gamble, right? Want to raise the stakes? No way. It's not that I'm afraid of losing, but I'm afraid that you will lose too much and lose your focus on work. Why are you sure? Haven't you noticed that you've gained weight? Toot, toot. On the other end of the phone, Assistant Ada said she knew she was going to be busy, and hung up the phone. Obviously, this is another woman like Penny. Their weight is closely related to their self-worth. Adam said she was fat, and she naturally felt offended. The next day, early in the morning, when Adam came to the VIP delivery room, Assistant Ada had already arrived, and directed people to help Rachel change into a wedding dress specially provided for pregnant women. You get what you pay for. Wow, so beautiful. Monica and the others also arrived, and after Rachel changed, they skillfully made the sounds that Rachel wanted to hear the most. Thank you, Adam. Rachel looked left and right in front of the floor-length mirror, full of infinite joy. She was really satisfied that a pregnant woman wearing a wedding dress could achieve this effect. You're welcome. Adam smiled and said, Ada, is the wedding venue set up? Yeah, Ada replied with a dark face. It's in the hotel next to the hospital, and someone has arranged it urgently. What about the groom? Adam looked at Monica again. Chandler and Joey are helping him prepare, so it should be ready. Monica said. Adam, where are our bridesmaids' dresses? Phoebe said dissatisfiedly. No need for bridesmaids. Adam smiled and said, today's focus is on the bride. Rachel, you can just wear casual clothes. Monica pulled Phoebe knowingly, and her eyes swept across Rachel's bulging belly. There is only one protagonist in a wedding, and that is the bride. Even the groom is a supporting role. The other bridesmaids are dressed more beautifully than the bride. What do they want to do? Are they trying to ruin the party? When those actresses get married, they find a row of actresses as bridesmaids. In many cases, everyone only pays attention to the bridesmaids and can't remember who the bride is. There is no other reason. The bridesmaids looks completely crush the bride. What's more important is that more than a dozen of them stand in a row and beat up the bride. I don't know what the bride felt at that moment. If it weren't for the pomp and circumstance, I guess the bride would have turned into a Gatling Bodhisattva to save all the good sisters and bridesmaids. Yeah, most likely, the groom would have to be involved. Don't think she didn't see the groom's eyes drifting to the bridesmaids behind her. Rachel was about to speak, but after being reminded by Adam, she looked at her belly and the beautiful wedding dress, and swallowed the words that were about to come out of her mouth. It happened suddenly. Everything should be kept simple. It doesn't matter whether there is a bridesmaid or not. Monica, Phoebe, take care of Rachel, Adam said and went out. Assistant Ada also followed him out. Today is a wedding after all. Don't be unhappy, it's just 3 months' salary. Adam smiled. How did you know? Assistant Ada was puzzled. She and Adam had a simple working relationship. I have good eyesight and good math. Adam smiled reservedly. Well, my experience is also okay. That's it? Ada was still incredible. Isn't that enough? Adam hesitated and said, have you forgotten where this is? The hospital. Ada didn't understand. Then who am I? Adam reminded. I'm a doctor, a surgeon. We've seen too many different types of human fat tissue. Many people, like you, come here wearing the gathering device. But before surgery, they have to give up the device and show their true self. Over time, those with some talent can see the essence through the phenomenon. It's not normal. Ada's face darkened. This made her feel more offended than saying she was fat. Adam. Over there, Leonard was waving to Adam. Adam could only stop explaining, smiled at Ada, and walked over. I have asked the director for leave for us, Leonard asked with concern. How is the registration at the city hall going? No problem. Adam smiled and said, we have obtained the consent of the judge, and the staff of the city hall are already waiting on the scene. Once we start working, we will register them on the spot. Congratulations, your first granddaughter is a legitimate child. That's great. Leonard was very pleased. Adam, this is all thanks to you. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Adam smiled and said, it's time for us to go there too. Okay. Leonard nodded. The two walked side by side towards the wedding scene outside the hospital. Today's wedding was too sudden. Everything was kept simple. Only a few close friends and family were invited. Fortunately, the Geller family and the Green family, both of whom live in New York, arrived in time. The layout of the wedding scene, flowers, band, etc., were all in place in just a few hours with the ability of money. P.S. Thank you Dezu and Resurrection for your many days of rewards. Chapter 525, Chirp, Thump Thump Thump, Wedding Scene. Hasn't it started yet? Leonard looked at his watch frequently. Adam, can you hurry it up? Rachel could give birth at any time. Okay, I'll go and see. Don't worry. Even if Rachel's water breaks, it's still a long time before she gives birth. As long as we complete the registration before Emma is born, it won't be considered an illegitimate child. Adam comforted. Alas, why can't we register first and then have the wedding? Leonard complained. The working hours have come. The staff of the city hall are also in place. The registration can be completed quickly at any time. But now the wedding is about to take place. According to Western tradition, before the wedding, the bride and groom cannot meet. Otherwise, it will be a bad omen and not very auspicious. Therefore, we can only let the staff of the city hall wait there first, and wait until the wedding ceremony is over before registering. With Rachel's current state, such a long wait, there is a chance of double happiness immediately. Moreover, when Leonard learned that Rachel was pregnant earlier, he made a lot of efforts, yelling at his daughter, and going to Ross's house to confront him, hoping to get married directly. Unfortunately, neither his daughter nor his son-in-law obeyed at that time. In the end, it ended up in such a worrying situation. This was because he really had no way to deal with his daughter and son-in-law. Today was a big day, otherwise his temper would have exploded long ago. He was a man who could yell at a male waiter and make him cry. Under Adam's repeated urging, the wedding was accelerated again. Ross stood on the altar. The best man and bridesmaid did not walk the red carpet together this time because they did not have a suit. Chandler and Joey stood directly behind Ross. Monica and Phoebe stood opposite. The Geller family and the Green family, as well as people like the city hall staff and Ada, sat in rows of seats under the altar as guests of the ceremony. Ross's parents and Rachel's mother were all relieved. Rachel's second sister Amy showed a disapproving expression and curled her lips from time to time. Rachel's third sister Jill smiled. Compared to the second sister Amy, who often stole her boyfriend, stole her jewelry, and played tricks on her, the youngest sister Jill was Rachel's favorite sister. There was no way. There were only two sisters, and the second to last was the best. Therefore, the relationship between the two was okay. Jill, the younger sister, was also really happy for her elder sister. The music started. Everyone looked at the end of the red carpet. At the door, Rachel, in a white wedding dress, walked in slowly with her father Leonard's arm around her. The bride walked slowly because she wanted to enjoy the happiness of being the center of attention at this moment. But Rachel had no choice. After Leonard handed his baby daughter Rachel's hand to the embarrassed groom Ross with a glare, and the bride and groom both stepped onto the altar, the priest, at Adam's signal, began to follow the procedure. It was the routine of "You are willing, I am willing, and we will never part." The whole time, Leonard was the most nervous. He stared at his daughter's belly and expression, fearing that his granddaughter Emma would sing a song of "Choo, tut tut tut" with the band's music. Fortunately, his granddaughter Emma gave her grandpa face and did not make trouble throughout the whole process, nor did she have any intention of shockingly coming out early. "I declare that you are a legal couple." "Groom, you can kiss the bride," the priest announced. Groom Ross embraced the bride Rachel, as if he had returned to the moment many years ago when he was dumped by his lesbian ex-wife and complained to his sister Monica that he didn't want to get divorced, but only wanted to get married. Then, in a blink of an eye, the goddess Rachel, whom he had a crush on since high school, pushed open the door of the cafe in a white wedding dress. At this moment, he was moved and felt that his decision was so wise. Rachel and he were destined to be a couple. So, his eyes changed, the long-lost enthusiasm returned. As a bride, Rachel soon felt this change when she looked at her groom, who had forced her to do it. Her heartbeat began to beat violently. This was the feeling of being moved. As the two looked at each other affectionately and got closer and closer, Rachel's mouth deviated from the track and she turned her head and shouted, "Oh!" Obviously, Rachel was not the only one who was moved. Emma in Rachel's belly felt her mother's mood change and became happy. She couldn't wait to declare her presence in such an important occasion. So, she kicked her mother Rachel hard. "What's wrong?" Ross was stunned. "Silly, hurry up and kiss her and end the process." Adam had already rushed over and reminded. Rachel's water broke. "Oh. Ross leaned over and kissed Rachel. "Go to the hospital quickly." The old father Leonard also ran over with a vigorous figure. "Don't worry, everything is ready." Adam comforted, picked up Rachel like a princess, put her on the gurney that had been prepared long ago, and called everyone to walk quickly to the hospital next door. "Call Dr. Montgomery." "Register." Leonard was obsessed. "Ada." Adam called. "Got it." Ada agreed and went to call the city hall staff who had been waiting for a long time. On the way, he trotted along with the team pushing the bed, went through the process, and then directly announced that Ross and Rachel were legally married, and presented the marriage certificate that had been prepared in advance with both hands. Leonard took it, flipped through it, and comforted himself. He took out his wallet from his pocket and stuffed all the cash in it to the city hall staff, saying, "Thank you." For a man who can make a lot of money, but is always willing to give so little tips that even his own children feel embarrassed, and all the waiters will spit in his coffee. Leonard's current behavior is absolutely unprecedentedly generous. It shows how happy he is now. "You're welcome." The city hall staff was in a better mood, although it was a bit unpleasant to trot for people to get a marriage certificate. But Adam really gave too much. Plus this unexpected money, he is willing to run his legs off. Medical center, VIP delivery room, because of the advance call, and Adam and Leonard's face. Dr. Montgomery and Liz were already waiting there. After a check, "The water has broken, but the cervix is only 2 centimeters dilated. It has to be 10 centimeters dilated before giving birth, so we have to wait for a while." Dr. Montgomery smiled. 2 centimeters is about right." Rachel gestured with 3 fingers. They were married. They got their marriage certificate. If nothing else, she would definitely have spent the bridal chamber with Ross, who had become her husband and had regained his passion for her. But alas, the water has broken. Now she can only hope to give birth to Emma as soon as possible. "It's centimeters, not inches." Adam gestured with a finger and reminded. "Damn metric system." Rachel cursed immediately. "You should curse the damn imperial system." Adam laughed. "In fact, there is no strict imperial system at all now, because the calibration of imperial units must rely on metric measuring instruments. In this case, Not using metric units uniformly but still using imperial units is completely a waste of time. The metric system is commonly used internationally. Even Britain, the birthplace of imperial units, has switched to metric units. As long as we want to change it and keep pace with the international standards, there is no problem at all. But Americans are just too lazy to change. In daily life, they still use the imperial system. But in professional fields, they use the metric system. This is why we have such an embarrassing situation now. P.S. I have something to do today, so there is only one chapter at noon, and the other 2 chapters will be updated later. Please forgive me. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.